up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Healthy Warrior Damon?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That is correct. Where every show is our first show. Because we're really bad at this. We haven't figured. I mean, we're good at counting. We're bad at producing. You're not mic'd. See, if you were a better producer, you'd have been mic'd for that one. Well, just, it's not my fault I can't hear you. But it's only episode 1. It's only episode 1. Everybody just calm down. Everything is fine. Guys, this is Wrestling on the Rocks. We are at WOTR, the show where every episode is episode 1. I am at Ref Marsh, and with me today, the other half of the legendary podcasting team, IIRonics.
I almost posed with you.
Oh,
almost.
Very nice. Very nice. It's at
Baby
Kevlar
steps.
on the Rocks with an X. Kevlar, say what's up, man.
What's up, guys? How you been? Long time. I'm back for another week of wrestling.
Long time, first time. For sure. How you doing, man? What do you think about the what do you think about in general with the week of wrestling being what it was?
Had some ups and downs, like, you know, obviously we didn't talk about it last show. I don't know if you guys talked about it last Thursday, but Bobby Eaton passing, that sucks.
Yeah, we did talk about that real briefly, but I don't have a lot of stories about him. I mean, other than tears in our beers. I will say, we've talked about it before, or I mentioned it briefly there, that I had a feeling that Cornette was going to put out a podcast that was going to be largely about Bobby Eaton, and it was probably worth a listen. He did, in fact, do that, and it was really emotional and really just powerful. I mean, he got into the business with Bobby Eaton. They were both teenagers, and he kind of talks the whole story about Bobby's career and what he was like and how much he meant to him. And I'll tell you, of all the controversial things he may have said, there's not a controversial thing in this whole one. And if you are curious at all about the man behind Bobby Eaton, it's a really good listen for that. Anything you want to say about it? Bobby Eaton's passing?
I mean, I remember him growing up, you know, in a handful of matches. And I remember when I was younger, one of the first matches I saw him in was, I just looked at him and I was like, look at these generic rockers.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to rip off, you know, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, and I was wrong.
Yeah, it was the other way around, it turned out. We found out later.
Yeah. I was like, look at these guys. Gosh, get these guys out of here. And then actually watching them and, you know, then getting more involved with Bobby Eaton and everyone, like, I was like, all right, these guys are pretty damn good.
Yeah, really good. So yeah, I would encourage anybody to check out that podcast because nobody knew him better, and there's nothing we're going to say that's going to be any more poignant than what Cornette said. But yeah, it was just it was a real bummer. Man, he wasn't that old. He was like 62.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a bummer, and he had just lost his wife like a month ago, 2 months ago, or something like that. So.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so all bad stuff. But tears in our beers for Bobby Eaton, one more.
Yes. Also, the other passing, Elias, he's dead.
Elias is dead. That's true. We'll find out more about that. Kev,
Yeah.
let's start off with what's in your glass, man. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking some Kona Big Wave. That's good.
Kona Big Wave? That sounds pretty good. I'm having a little bit more of the Tin Cup, the American whiskey that is based around the... Do I have it? Is it still here? Let's see. Because it's about the Rocky Mountains. Tin Cup is named for the Colorado mining pioneers and the tin cups from which they enjoy their whiskey. So like the pioneers would have these little tiny tin cups, and I got one here, and I'm having my whiskey in it today. So.
See, I've seen Tin Cup on the shelves a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it referenced the Kevin Costner movie.
Oh, yeah, it was a golfing thing?
Yeah, filmed right here in Tucson, Arizona.
That's a good point. Good point. It definitely was.
I never picked up the bottle to read it. I was like, yeah, somebody likes some Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I mean, if Kevin Costner was going to make a whiskey, he'd have to do something like that or Bull Durham or something. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Not your
Field of
mother's
Dreams.
Water's World.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't do Waterworld because the guy was drinking his own piss in that movie, and that would be real. Whoa!
Yeah, and
Something's happening. I don't know. I just heard a noise. Oh, we got some people coming through here. Let's see. We have Just in Time. He goes, "What up? What up, though? Wrestling on the Rocks crew." Sierra says, "Loving the blue theme." Son of a bitch. We're all blue lit. I get it. We cannot figure out our lighting for so long. It's been such a fucking deal. Yeah, and now all the white is out. Oh, here it is. Fragility is now following us. Thank you for coming through, Fragility. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
But
I'll drink to that.
Yep. All right, sorry, I interrupted you for the excitement of all of that. What were you? What were you saying?
It was about Waterworld. Everyone shit on that movie, and I loved it. I don't know if I just have bad taste in movies or people didn't give it a chance.
I mean, it was a flop, but it was good. I mean, it had to be decent enough because I think Universal Studios had like a whole Waterworld area, so like,
yeah,
it couldn't have been like the worst. I don't know. I'd have to
Well, I know-
rewatch it.
Yeah, I know it was a box office flop, but
Yeah,
I like it.
we'll have to rewatch it. We'll do a watch along for it sometime.
Right?
Yeah,
Wrestling on the Rocks, Waterworld, watch along.
yeah, hell yeah.
It's
Let's see.
paper.
I'm going to throw this out here on the top of the show as well. We are sponsored today by New Wave. It is Flow State Coffee. That's right, newwave.co for Flow State Coffee, which is a specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for productivity and creativity. It's a better energy focus and mood than a regular cup of coffee while decreasing the negative side effects like anxiety and blood pressure. And I'll tell you, the more and more I've been having it, the more and more I can tell when I'm not having it, personally. When,
Like when you're drinking regular coffee?
Mm-hmm. I feel a difference. There was a while we were kind of out, and so we didn't have it. And then all of a sudden one day I was like super, like, I was very energetic. I was really easy to focus on things. I was almost hyperactive in focus. And I even messaged a producer and I was like, "Hey, what type of coffee is this today?" And she's like, "Wouldn't you know it? It's actually New Wave." And I was like, "Well, goddamn, shit's good." You forget how much it works. So go there, go to newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, and put in the promo code CHEERS for 10% off whatever's going on over there. Additional 10% off if they already have a deal. It's just kind of their thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't know that I have anything else for news, man, really. I don't think that... I know we ended up talking a little bit about the NXT, the state of NXT, more or less, over the weekend with Amanda Jane. So if you guys are curious about that, that's the last episode we did was a buyback. We kind of broke down the theory. And Kev, I'm going to throw out with you the theory that Amanda had that makes the single most sense of anything I've heard from literally anybody.
Okay.
So everyone's talking about all these layoffs and stuff, and like, oh, obviously they're looking to sell, or they're doing the layoffs for NXT, and like, oh, they're shutting down NXT altogether. And Meltzer's out there saying, well, they only want tall guys and young guys, but then they let go of tall guys and young guys, and he's like, they want them to be big, and they let go of big guys, and so it's like, whatever you're basing it off of is not what we're seeing, right? Her theory, as of now, is that she thinks that they're going to be selling off or merging, at least in a sense, with NBC Universal in its entirety, that you'll see Raw and SmackDown and NXT all live exclusively on Peacock. You wouldn't have a split anymore of this on Fox, this on USA, this on Peacock. It would all be in one singular location. And with that in mind, a similar relationship potentially, if WWE becomes under the NBC Universal umbrella, you could potentially see NBC absorbing some of these contracts the way that WCW and Time Warner had a partnership where Time Warner had a bunch of the major contracts and WCW had very little of their own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which would make sense in the idea that if they're trying to cut talent, because in this year alone they've had almost 100 releases, which is pretty high. They still have like 250 people, but what if they said, hey, we're only willing to take on this much, X number. And instead of doing it all at once, they're like, well, let's, we have 1 or 2 years or something to get it down to the number that they want, and then that's that. And if you have NBC Universal and WWE Productions merged, then you could potentially see a lot more WWE-based movies and such.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it makes sense. Definitely, get you to think outside the box a little bit instead of just the typical, oh, Vince is an asshole. Oh, they're selling. Oh, they're getting rid of them. Yeah, it does make sense. I thought the contract that they had with Fox, I thought that was a large multi-year deal.
I thought it was like 3 or 5, but at the end of the day, I don't understand contracts. And at the end of the day, this also could be a larger thing because Fox happened before NBC. At this point, Fox has had SmackDown for 2 or 3 years. I mean, it could be just one of those things. Yeah, and it could be one. I don't know how long their USA contract is. It could just be one of those things where the whole Peacock move with the network could have been the groundwork for the larger move down the line.
Yeah.
Which would also explain why, even though AEW is building a lot of steam, Vince McMahon is on call saying, and AEW is in no way, shape, or form competition to them at this point. That it's not even remotely close to what WCW was at that time, and it could just be the basic standing of the business at the time. You know what I mean? Vince was still a standalone business. Now he's a corporate infrastructure that's worldwide and now has partnerships with Fox and NBC, and maybe the NBC partnership is larger than we see. And he goes, yeah, AEW is not even close to getting to the point where we are. We're going to be on basic cable on every show, and maybe NXT doesn't come along for the ride. Maybe that's why they're lightening that load. I don't know. Who knows? But it could make sense if Vince is like, yeah, they're not competition because we're literally doing a different thing. We're about to become a large part of a larger cable company and production company. AEW is not doing that. I mean, AEW is doing just fine, and they're starting their new show this week on Fridays. But they are, at the end of the day, a wrestling company that's got no partnerships with anybody. I guess TNT is paying for their show, right? So there's a little bit of a partnership there, but it's not the same at all in that realm. So I could see that. Because other people are all like, oh, WWE's going out of business. And you're like, I don't feel like that's the flow that they're on, So.
Is AEW's second show is only on YouTube, right?
No, right now they have 2 shows on YouTube, and Wednesday nights they have TNT, and then on TNT on Friday nights they're going to have 1 hour of Rampage.
Okay.
And it's
I'm curious
to
see the whole ratings war. Well, you said it's going to be on 10, so it's going to be after SmackDown?
Mm-hmm. Like an hour or 2 after SmackDown, so it's not like they could even lead into it very well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that gives... I want to see the ratings at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show, because there might be a bunch of people that watch SmackDown and are all hyped and yeah, let's keep watching wrestling. Turn on AEW, and I want to see how many people are at the end of the show.
Yeah,
still there.
I thought about that too, and now I think about it. On the East Coast, it will lead into it because on the East Coast it is 8 to 10 for SmackDown. I was just thinking right now on our coast we're getting it 5 to 7, so I was like, well, it's not fucking anywhere near, you know what I mean? But on the East Coast it would be. So yeah, I think that they might, after SmackDown's over, people flipping around and they see another wrestling show, they might go check it out. And I do wonder how many people will stay or not, especially given that SmackDown, to me,
is the show.
It's the show, man. There's if you're only watching one wrestling show a week, I don't know why it's not SmackDown. It doesn't make sense to me otherwise, to be honest. It's just so good. And the production quality on SmackDown is so much different. I'm not going to say better necessarily. It's just so much different than what you're getting on AEW. So if you're having 2 million people watch SmackDown every week because they love it, I don't know that Rampage is going to do it for them. So I'm curious to see what Rampage is going to look like, how it's going to go. That is this Friday. It does begin. A lot of speculation. This is the show that CM Punk's going to show up on. What do you think?
I can care less.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say cheers to Jeremy. Jeremy is in the chat saying another episode 1 is underway, but what were you gonna say?
I mean, like, I wish the dude the best, and I don't want to shit on him, but I never jumped on the CM Punk hype train like everyone else did.
Yeah, I'll say this is I've never been a fan of CM Punk. I did do a watch along a couple weeks back with Amanda, a CM Punk and Cena match, and it was really good, and I had changed a bit of my mind on Punk in that match alone, but that was also over 10 years ago, and I don't know what we're getting. What I will say is if CM Punk does show up on AEW or anywhere, if he shows up on WWE or ROH or NWA even, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's going to garner attention, and it's a good move, and it's smart for whoever does it. So if he does show over to AEW, then more power to you.
I would be interested a little bit to see what he's like, and but
Yes.
like I said, I wasn't. I'm trying to think of somebody else that I can think of off the bat, and I just can't. Where we heard, oh, they're going to be on WCW now, and it's like, oh, okay, well, let's see what they do, But I'm not generally excited if it happened.
Yeah, like Rick Rude when he went to WCW, it was just kind of like, okay. I mean, even when Sting went to WCW, we kind of said the same thing. Oh, okay, we'll see what he does. And at this point, it's like, he's just kind of hanging out. I would and I will, if he does show up, be very curious to watch the Instagram clips that they'll make. I find that that's the best way for me to catch up on what's going on. I'll scroll through their Instagram for sure. But yeah, I think it's big news. I think it is big news for him, and if it happens, then it's fantastic. And if it doesn't happen, then I think there will be some backlash because they've been definitely teasing it on their show, making comments about best in the world here and there. And if he does not show up by the time All Out comes around, it's I think people are going to be pretty upset. So I'm hoping for their sake he is, and I do think it's very exciting. But I also agree, there's a huge part of me that just doesn't give a shit because I'm not a big fan of CM Punk. So personally, I don't care too much. But, business-wise, I think it's very, very exciting.
See, now the whole thing opened up. Best in the world. I think we're all getting bamboozled, and it goes along with the NXT sell-off, is Shane O'Mac's going to AEW.
I think there's a good chance we get Shane O'Mac.
And he's buying it, just like he did in WCW.
Yeah.
So WWE
it does say best in the world on the contract.
Yeah. So WWE's selling off of or getting rid of some of these NXT contracts so they can take on all of AEW.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem weird that they've let go so many and so many people prime off TV. Big names, like I don't know, it's something weird is definitely going on there. But yeah, if Punk shows up on Rampage, I also think this too about CM Punk. If he's showing up to AEW one way or the other, if you're already close to selling out your All Out tickets, do you bother debuting him before then? Because you've already sold the tickets. Like maybe you debut him there. But if you're not close to selling out, then you debut him. Is what I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 100%. Like, if it's close to a sellout or already a sellout, you hold them off or hold it off until the pay-per-view. But if they're struggling to sell tickets, you throw CM Punk out there. Yes, he is here. First match at was it All Out? You said?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, even do some sort of Kenny Omega open challenge or something. And then
do you think
if people were expecting it, they'll still blow the roof off the place if they haven't seen him yet. That's the first time they've seen him.
Yeah. Do you think if he goes to AEW, do you think AJ Lee goes as well?
I don't know. I've thought about that, and I don't get the impression that either one of them cares to go back to wrestling at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think if CM Punk's going back, it's strictly for the money and nothing else at all. Or maybe the fuck you. Like he's the type to do something just to spite someone else, So he might be doing it for the fuck you aspect, but he's not doing it for the love of wrestling by any means. there's nothing he's said or done since he's left that's made me think he even gave a shit. He says he doesn't even watch.
Michael is in the chat saying he's starring in a scripted wrestling show on Stars, so he has been wrestling, and he also said All Out is sold out.
Yeah, All Out's already sold out. So I say you fucking hold off. Otherwise, the only reason you're debuting him on Rampage is to pop the rating for Rampage, which, I mean, they did that with Dynamite, and then they saw a huge decline over a rapid period of time when it wasn't that anymore. I think it's kind of hotshot stuff, and I don't know. I want Rampage to do good. I'd rather have a slow build than a deep fall and then slow build. Like, it just looks weird.
Yeah.
And thank you just in time for resubscribing. That's what that noise was. So thank you.
Yay! Thank you, Justin. Cheers to Justin.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Punk has been working on that Heels show, so he's been, quote, theoretically wrestling, but it's like TV wrestling, and I don't buy that it's just like he'll be just good as he ever was. I think you perform at a high level for a long time, and that's how you be that good. I think he's not going to go in there and suck. He's not going to go in there and I don't know. Jericho did. he stayed performing. He stayed performing and he got gassed. But I don't think CM Punk's going to be awful. I don't know that we're going to get these classics. And I also think that them going with Kenny Omega straight away might be an issue too, because you're giving it away already. You know what I mean? So I don't know. With the fact they sold that All Out, I almost feel like you keep teasing it and you wait. But what the fuck do I know, man? I'm just a goof hanging with my friends.
Yes.
Either way, it's exciting. It's cool. It's something to talk about. And if it does pop off, then it's going to be really neat to see how it plays out. So, you know, it's good for everybody, really. I don't really have anything else news-wise at all. What the fuck just happened?
Nope.
Yeah, let us know, you guys in the chat, if you got any news you found intriguing. But for this week, we don't really have too much.
Yeah, which is fine by me. Fine by me. Kev, was there anything else news-wise, otherwise, that you thought we needed to bring up?
Nope.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Smackdown, dude.
Well,
shit.
I will say
Hold
real
on.
quick. Oh my gosh.
Everybody stop. What do you want, producer?
SummerSlam apparently is still on. I know we were worried like last week and the week before, rumblings that it may be canceled or moved because of COVID, but as far as we know right now, it's still on. So
Still on, so far as we can tell. 100%. Also, still on. Just the tickets are on sale now. Definitely worth checking out if you're anywhere around the area. CWF Atlanta is going to be putting on a killer show. If you go to CWF Atlanta on Twitter, you can see the roster of people they're bringing in. You can see the show they have coming up on September 2nd. And tickets are on sale now, and they are very affordable. We were looking at it today, and front row tickets are literally $30. And so now I'm looking at, well, what is it going to take for me to get there is my next question. So trying to work it out already. I was as we were going live, I was messaging someone in Atlanta as we were going live, like, any chance I can crash in your shed or something? Like, you got to have like a backyard or something, man, whatever it takes.
because that's Marquez's show.
Yep, David Marquez, who was formerly the one doing a lot of the producing for NWA, and he does CWF Hollywood. He's famously in the Car Shield commercials with Ric Flair. He's a good dude.
Yeah, dude has done everything and everything well, so
Yeah.
we're into it.
Absolutely. I think we lost Kev altogether.
No, I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right.
Well, your video's off, so technical difficulties. Take a drink.
Take a drink. Have a drink. Episode 1, technical difficulties. No big deal.
I take a shot every time there's technical difficulties.
Yeah, hell yeah. Kev, you want to talk about SmackDown? Just get into it?
Yeah. Jump head first.
All right. It opened up with the boss, Sasha Banks. And give it a gap away. Give it a baby. So good. So good. Then Snoop Dogg pipes in. Yes, y'all. First episode, y'all. You know what I mean? What did you think of the Sasha promo leading into the Bianca promo leading into the Zelina promo? 3 promos right up on top. I want to know what you thought about it.
I mean, they were what they were. Like, I was laughing when it first started because they showed the recap of the week before.
Yeah.
And, you got all these fans out there that are just like, trying to get on TV. So, Sasha does her turn, and one of the fans is like sitting there like absolutely shocked, like somebody just kicked their puppy.
Yeah.
And like the guy next to him is just looking at it like with a smirk, like, yeah, I didn't see this fucking coming.
Yeah.
So I was laughing at that, and then everything else happened.
Yeah. No, that's good. I really like this promo. I think we've both been pretty critical of Sasha Banks at times with her promos and how good she's gotten, but this one was just so solid. I felt like there was nothing wrong with any of this. I liked it a lot. Bianca came out and sounded real strong. I liked that she was punking out the heels, made Sasha scurry, stand up on the table, told Zelina, don't even step into my ring, and Zelina said, okay. Like, I was like, God damn, people are talking shit on her, like they think that they could, like that they know they could whoop her ass, but when it's coming like face to face, they're staying back and they're like, no, I'm not stupid. You're a fucking force. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was real cool, and I think Zelina sounds delusional, which I love, because she keeps talking about how she's so good and deserves so much, and she hasn't won a single match since she's got there.
Yeah, but she says it so confidently. It's great.
Yeah, she says it in such a way that you're all like, yeah, maybe she does deserve that. Maybe I missed something here. It was even a weird line she cut, but she cut it so good on the way out. She goes, you seem lost. I can help find you. And I was like, what?
Let's go with it.
Yeah, I don't know what she means. But it was good. It was good, dude. I love this. I thought everyone looked awesome here. I like that Zelina called Sasha Ratchet. Call back to NXT days when the fans used to chant Sasha's Ratchet at her. She even had a T-shirt out that said, I'm not Ratchet. Like, but she used to like twerk in the ring sometimes as a mock. And so people were all like, oh shit, she's Ratchet.
Yeah.
It was just funny. Just funny. But I thought it was perfect, dude. I thought this was so good. They all came off so strong. Pat McAfee was hysterical when Sasha goes over there and he goes like, oh yeah, by all means, and like starts to offer her a chair, and she's like, no, I'm gonna get on the desk. Goes, oh yeah, that's a good spot up there. Like you can hear him like just saying stupid shit. So good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice way to kick off the show. I think it definitely highlighted, what's to come at SummerSlam, more so than just Sasha's turn and stuff like that. It was like, all right, cool. That's why I said last week that they should have slowed that down a bit. But
yes,
I definitely think that this made up for it. It did, lead into SummerSlam, and you're like, all right, cool. Let's see it. Let's see where we go.
Yeah, I mean, even in a promo, she said like, "Hey, I came back for one reason. It was to fucking knock some sense into Bianca." And she's like, "And I showed how dumb she is already." And you're like, "I guess you did." You know what I mean? Like, she even called it out, like it was fast moving. Just like, yeah, I came back. It was my plan. I exposed her for being a dumb idiot. And you're like, yeah, we all thought the same thing at home, right? We were all like, how could she be so dumb? And Sasha's like, yeah, see, she's that dumb, and I'm that good. And you're all like, fuck, maybe Sasha's that good.
Yeah.
It was easy to get lost in, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually super hyped for that. We're going to be there, dude. We're going to be there to watch Sasha versus Bianca. That is a WrestleMania main event at a SummerSlam. Not mad about it. Not mad one bit.
Nope.
Let me see. Yeah, Bianca did good. We'll get to that match later. The fuck? What's next on your list? You got your notes there. My notes are all out of order, man.
Good cop, bad cop. Thanks for coming through our YouTube chat.
What do they say? Cheers or something?
Just evening all.
Just evening all? How
And
British
just
is
in
that?
time,
Cheers.
like the Sasha Banks Sky's the Limit WOTR remix that you
Who
just
said
did.
it? Who? Just in time? Yeah, oh yeah. Cheers, Justin.
It was Jay and Dom came up next.
That's right. Rey Mysterio and Dominic had a promo in the back where Rey's all like, Dominic, you're so stupid. And Dominic's like, yeah, I
Stupid.
am. And then they're
Stupid
like,
little
let's
kid.
do this. And they go out to the ring. It was really good. The match was awesome, dude. I'm loving Dominic is doing so good.
Yeah.
All things considered, he's doing so good. The
Yeah.
Usos are amazing. I've got literally no issues with anything that's happening with the Mysterios and the Usos right now. I know everybody wants Dominic to turn on his dad, and I just don't fucking want that.
Yeah, I don't see
And that's
that.
am I just too old and sentimental that I'm all like, family should stay
Yes.
together?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very, very Disney of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see that either, just because it doesn't make sense. Like, I could see if Ray was holding him back,
It's true.
but as of right now, it doesn't make sense. And for what? So he could acknowledge Roman? Yeah, no, thank you. I think he's doing fine without that.
That's
The
a really
only
good
issue
point.
I have
Go ahead.
is Jay. He's looking with his little hairdo and hair dye. He's looking a little Red Roosterish, little Terry Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know. The red splashes have been a little weird. It looks like everyone got into the cookie jar there. Zelina's got the red top. You got, and her whole thing was she was trying to do it to be like it was the red bottom, like those shoes. Because she'd made comment of that on Instagram when she did it. She goes, "Everything I have is red bottom," and you're all like, "Okay, orangutan, right?" Because those things have red butts, right? Or not orangutans. What's
The baboon.
the baboon?
Baboon.
Baboons have the red butts. And I was all like, okay. It was just weird. But I thought it looked fine. But then now that the Usos are both doing it now too, I'm kind of like, what's going on back there? They just all like, hey, I got some leftovers. Yeah, fuck it. Throw it my way, man. It's a little weird and it doesn't make quite sense. I do like that they've been doing the splashes of gold on their gear to kind of match the way
Yeah.
Roman does the gold glove.
Yeah.
I think it was Jay had the gold on his right leg because he's the right hand man. I don't know what it has to do with his leg, but felt fitting.
I'm still waiting for the Jay, or not the Jay. Wait, Jay's the right hand man, right? Or is that Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy's nobody's bitch, and Jay is the right hand man.
So I still want a Jimmy left-handed stranger shirt.
Gross. It's disgusting. But it's a really good point that Ray's not holding back Dominic. So all the people who want that breakup, it doesn't make sense because, like you said, they're helping each other so much. So I think that, kind of like you insinuated, you could get to a storyline where Ray's just not getting it done. He's just not what he used to be, and he keeps causing Dominic this and that. And Dominic gets to a point of like, I'm going to put you out to pasture, old man. You can't handle the mask anymore. And he goes into a thing where he wins the mask off his dad and is bestowed the mask, and his dad becomes maybe a manager for a short period of time and then calls it. You know what I mean? Like, how many more years does Ray really need? He's performing at a level that nobody his age is.
Yeah.
So at some point we gotta let the guy rest, man. And if he never wants to, I'm never gonna tell him he has to. But Rey Mysterio matches today look and feel similar than they looked 20 years ago, just a little slowed down. They're not even like dramatically slowed down. They're just more psychology. Like if you watch the old Cruiserweight matches, they were good athletic matches, but a lot of them lacked story. That's what made the rivalry with him and Eddie so powerful. It's what made like Dean Malenko and Jericho so meaningful, was that they added story to it in a division that didn't have much story. It just had a lot of 100-mile-per-hour fast-paced moves that were impressive to watch. But at this point, Rey Mysterio is just strictly doing the story and adding all of his athleticism, and it's fucking badass. And yeah, I'm saying in 2 years' time, I don't know if we still have Mysterio, just because how many more years can he feasibly do it? So that would be cool to have him in a turn that made sense with Dominic. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
See, and because that was the first time I've ever heard somebody say that. And it immediately just made me think of Charlotte and Rick.
Yeah.
Just go home. Like, I don't want to see Dom yelling that to Ray.
Yeah. Dad.
Damn it, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know, man. The match itself, I liked. I liked all the stuff around it. Let me see. What'd you have after that? Did you just write down the list, or did you write down the backstage stuff too? Because I don't remember where the Kayla thing happened.
I did on some of them.
What do you got?
But not all of them. I have Shinsuke and Apollo.
Yeah, that happened. Let's see. So Shinsuke and Apollo. Was Baron Corbin a part of this part? Where the fuck was Corbin?
So.
Man, I gotta start writing better notes, man.
Corbin was on Raw.
Corbin was on Raw, yeah. He was here too. He had the match with Finn Balor at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shinsuke and Apollo was what it was. I'm trying to think. I thought there was something else going on around it, and I can't think of anything else that went on around it. It just was a good match. They had a DQ finish, and so people were upset for no reason, I think.
Yeah, the only note I had for that was it was quick and easy and setting up for SummerSlam.
Yeah. Here's the one thing that they had in it. This is what I was thinking of. I was like, why was I thinking about this match specifically? I was thinking about Pat McAfee. Yeah. In the entrance, he's standing on the desk, and he's got his foot, and he's wiggling it in the face of Michael Cole. And the camera catches it because his shorts he's wearing are also like cut-off shorts, and he's got sneakers on. He just has a blazer over a white shirt. And as they cut away, Michael Cole says, "Nice to see you dressed up for this, Pat." And Pat McAfee goes, "It's WrestleMania all over again." I fucking died laughing. It was so fucking funny. Do you remember what happened at WrestleMania?
No.
You never heard the story? So McAfee's first time ever being on anything WWE was the kickoff show for WrestleMania 35 in New York. And I remember we made mention of it when we were watching it. We're like, why is this fucking dude out here in tuxedo shorts? Like, it looks stupid.
Yeah.
But what the fuck do we know? Well, he had showed up in those shorts, and when he showed up, Michael Cole had been the one to bring him in and told him, you know, it's a black tie affair. You got to wear your tux, you know? So he does. He shows up, and it's those tuxedo shorts, and he says something like, "What the fuck are you doing?" and yells at McAfee in front of, like, everybody and says, now I got to go tell Vince that his fucking guy is in fucking shorts. Because he told him, he's like, go put on some pants, and he's all like, bottom line, he's like, I don't own pants. He's like, it's this or I don't go out. And then Michael Cole's like, well, there's a good chance you're not going out then. And he takes him over to Vince McMahon and says, this is what this asshole's wearing. And Vince is just all like, they're tuxedo shorts. They're hip. He's like, I love it. And fucking Michael Cole's all like furious. He says, all right, get your ass out there.
Because Vince is an asshole. That's why.
Yeah, Vince is a piece of shit. But
Clear.
so fucking funny, dude. And even in there, when McAfee's told the story, he's all like, I almost walked out just like, no one fucking talks to me like this. I don't care what company you work for. And I was all like, fuck. McAfee was just all like, fuck this place. Shorts or nothing. And they're all like, all right, maybe we can come with a compromise. Shorts. So I loved it. He made a callback to the WrestleMania moment.
Nice.
Let's see. So there was that match. It was good. And then we did have the backstage thing with Heyman and Kayla Braxton. Dude, Heyman and Kayla are so good together. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, Kayla's great.
Yeah.
I know she's got a lot of hate online, but I think she's so funny. We love her.
She's hysterical. She's one of my favorite backstage and interviewers that they have right now. And her chemistry with Paul Heyman has to do a lot with their talking smack that they do. The show, not the action.
Yeah.
But the way Paul Heyman comes out and he's all like, are you kidding me? Like over and over again. And then she's all like, Paul. And he's all like, Kayla. And you're like, fuck.
And she has a great straight face. I know a lot of people, once they go up against someone who's a really great talker like Heyman, and they have a great line, they might just start, you start seeing them laugh. And Kayla just does a great straight face.
She was trying so hard not to laugh that she made it look like this fucking guy Seriously, like made it look like she was trying to hold herself back and not like she was trying to hold back the laughing. I was like, this is just so masterfully done right now. But their whole thing back and forth was so good. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it's funny how Heyman was using examples of the contract. Of course, I didn't write any down, but
You said the Tampa Bay Schmuccaneers.
yeah. But yeah, like I could just go over there and take Tom Brady's contract and, put my name down and I'm going to get paid like that. And it's like, well, that's true.
Yeah, I loved that they brought that up because that's something else that people have been saying online. It's like, so stupid. Like, this is what would happen. And for SmackDown to be all like, yeah, it is. That's why they're mad about it. Like, what? Of course, that's the story. Like,
Mike is in the chat saying, Marsh, I'm going to try to watch Dynamite in a new way tonight and tell you about it. Quote, out of touch old man Vince at a Chappelle show confirms he knows what's up. And I like British guy on Raw.
British guy on Raw.
Oh, that's funny you say that because Marsh is
Kevin?
not a huge fan of that dude.
Kevin, he's Irish.
Kevin. Yeah.
He's not British.
He's not British.
He's not from London.
Not everyone that's British is from London.
That is true.
That's
But
hard
I'm
to
a big-
prove, Kev. That's real hard to prove.
I'm a
honest.
big NXT UK fan, so we do have a lot of love for Europe.
I have a goddamn Ricky Gervais
But-
tattoo. People can calm the fuck down with any of that, I'll tell you. But yeah, no, Kevin, was it Sheamus? I think calls him KP.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's not bad, but he's not Caleb. What were you saying about it, Kev?
I don't know.
But what was that to do with the schmuck? Oh well, we were just talking about people getting work for the thing.
Oh, just grabbing a contract and putting your name on it, and all of a sudden, you owe me that much money, or you put me in this match, and it does. I thought they were gonna clarify it a little more this show, and that was like the only reference to it, and that was it. So
Yeah, but I
think it's
loved it.
I was just gonna
Go
say, I think it's one of those things that we see it happened, and that was it. They're not gonna revisit again.
Yeah, they acknowledge it and they go, yeah, but what the fuck are you gonna do? Not show up? Although, I mean, they did that whole thing with Roman when he made his return, where he was show up and win, and he walked out with the contract and then signed it and then got in the match. I mean, you can't do that here because it's a one-on-one. But they could really pull some sort of weird contract shenanigan up until the point of actually getting it in the ring. So it could be interesting. But yeah, I love that they brought it up the way they did.
Yeah,
And then
I think it'd be hilarious if Adam Pearce was like, but then I have to go type up a new one.
yeah,
And
it's
he
like,
did
we're out of
it.
ink, man. I can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
Shaq's not on this program. I can't get ink like that.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop on our YouTube chat says the Venn diagram of British and from London is not two circles perfectly overlapping.
I'll be honest. If you're from London, you're from Britain. So that's 100% of people from London from Britain. So
That's probably how they see us in like Texas. It's probably like all Americans are Texan.
you think Texas is the worst thing we got? I thought they'd see us as Florida or something, because Florida's got it all, man. It's got the hillbillies up top. It's got the surfer douches down at the bottom and the dangly bits. The whole thing's shaped like a dick to begin with. And there's all like, hell yeah, that's us. I don't know. Maybe Good Cop, Bad Cop can help us with that one. Let me hit the chat real quick. Justin is saying, I still remember Heyman saying they got rid of the wrong female interview to Kayla after, it wasn't Kathy Kelly left, it was after Charlie Caruso. As a friendly dig, Kayla and Heyman on screen are gold together. Yeah, 100%. They're so good together.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's nothing else going on over there. After this was Tegan Knox versus Tamina Snuka. This was a fucking solid match, dude. I loved this match.
Yeah. It was, once again, it kind of reminded me of the Shinsuke Apollo match. It was solid. It, made its point and moved the storyline quickly to SummerSlam, or what I think might be at SummerSlam.
Yes, 100%. The only thing that bothered me about it was that Shotzi popped off a missile and it either grazed Tamina or barely missed Tamina, and the ref just stood there like a dick. I'm like, yell at her. Tell her to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, she clearly attempted to interfere.
Well, if he doesn't know where it came from, he can't prove it was hers missile. It come from the crowd.
Some other fucking missile. He's all like, he just take cover, and fucking ducks and passes out, and medical's got to come out and help him. Yeah, dude, 100%. Fab Teens in the chat saying, really enjoying Tamina, making her look strong without the jump she would get nervous at.
Yeah, because remember she used to shake, her legs would shake a little every time she tried getting on the ropes.
Oh, Tamina on the ropes. Yeah.
They shook a lot.
Yeah.
She looked like Elvis up there.
Yeah, it was an awful lot for a while there. She's getting real comfortable.
I remember we were saying that's unnecessary, and it was, and I'm glad that they started using her other strong moves.
Yeah. Just Time does say, since when was firing a missile at someone not a DQ? If you don't hit them, you didn't actively interfere, right? It's the same as someone playing their music and standing out on the ramp. You didn't actively interfere. You just did something awfully distracting. But it's a fucking missile. That's why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't have done a DQ. I would have had the ref go over there and say, hey, Shotzi, get the fuck out of here with the tank. You know what I mean? Like, you can't bring the tank down here if you're going to be fucking launching missiles. Like, that's the part that got me, is the ref just stood there like, seems normal to me. Like, yeah, everything checks out.
I was just touching it and it went off. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It just could have done something with it. He could have at least yelled at her, and he could have at least gone over and reprimanded her. What are you thinking? What are you doing? She could have said that. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. And she's all like, you're on thin ice, Shotzi, and then turns around and it is what it is. You know what I mean? But like, for him to not even address it, for it to just like, and he's just all like, I hope it didn't hit someone in the audience. Seems awfully dangerous. You're like, fuck, dude. Something, man. I'm not saying everything's got to be DQ or that it needed to be, but it should have been addressed by the referee at some point, because they're there to create order of some kind. You know? Maybe they even reset the match. The referee just tells them both to get in their corners and yells at Shotzi, knock it off, and then, you know, all right, keep going, and they fucking do their thing. Like, maybe do something that feels like you didn't just see a missile for no reason.
Yeah. Like you said, just acknowledge it in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Just, you know, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
knock that shit out.
Yeah.
Mike is asking, in kayfabe terms, is it really a tank, or does everyone tell her it's a tank, so only Shotzi believes it's a tank, like a child?
What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I mean, it's a tank. Whether or not it's a full-size tank or a military-grade tank, it's still a tank of sorts with a launching device on the front of it. Like, I like when they come out with a shirt and they launch it into the crowd. I think that's dope. But it's not like Shotzi's the one who says it's a tank and they just go with it. Like, I understand like a weird kayfabe twist you're trying to put on it. What do you think it actually is, Micah? Sounds like you've got some sort of weird, like, it's not a tricycle. It's weird.
Power wheel.
It's a power wheel. But power wheels are types of power wheels, right? They got the Jeep. You know what I mean? They
Have you
have
seen that Nerf one
wheel.
that actually has a turret on it as well?
It's got a what on it?
Like a gun turret like that?
Oh, yeah.
The Nerf one?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man.
I wish they had one in grown-up sizes.
War. Yeah, dude, can you imagine? Well, that's what it is. Shotzi's got one in grown-up size, and now Mike is all jealous about it and trying to talk shit on it.
Yeah.
So dumb. I wish I had one.
It's a metaphor for the military.
He thinks that? Do you think that because she said that? Because she did, so way to knock that one out of the park, Micah. I'm giving him shit. But yeah, she mentioned that. That's why she wears the helmet. That's why she brings out the tank, because she's got military in her family. And she lost one of her family members, I think, in Afghanistan or something like that. It was like a cousin or an uncle or something like that, from what I remember. But it definitely has family members in the military, and I was pretty sure that most of it was homage to them one way or the other. And I think one of them had lost their life out there, so that's why she does it. Yeah. So, let's see. After that, we did have Edge come out and cut a mean-ass promo on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins coming in via satellite in a weird little butterfly suit. Loved it. Dude, their back and forth here was badass. And I liked when Seth got fed up with him. Oh, and Edge is all like, when you're pretending to be the Messiah, and Seth just goes, hallelujah, and starts laughing. I was like, fuck. Then Seth just snaps, starts yelling at Edge, and I'm like, fucking, it's on. I am so psyched for this. Snapped? He snapped. Seth snapped. He's all, or whatever. How do
Like
they
a
do it?
Slim Jim.
Like
That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
I meant he was all cool, calm, collected, laughing, ha 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 ha. And then all of a sudden, Edge finally got to him.
Yeah.
Like biting into a Slim Jim.
Right into a Slim Jim. Seth got edged. Right?
Yep.
I think that's how that goes. What do you think about all this, Kev?
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it. It shows how great they are on the mic, and yeah, I mean, it definitely gets us, or at least me, invested into SummerSlam and their storyline.
Dude, I love it so much because remember, like the Undisputed set had of trading cards had a small little insert series of like dream matches. And I remember there was an Edge and Bret Hart one, but I also think there was an Edge and Seth Rollins one. It's definitely one I've heard about while Edge was retired, that everyone said what could have been getting Edge and Seth in the ring together. So the idea
I thought it was
that
Edge and Daniel Bryan.
I mean,
I don't remember. Sorry.
I think Edge was involved in a number of these dream match scenarios because of how good he is at what he does. But I know Seth and Edge was one I heard a lot, and so it's really cool to see us in a place where they organically got there that makes sense in a way that you absolutely, that these dudes, like I kind of get chills when I think about the idea that Edge and Seth are sitting down to plot a match together. You know what I mean? Who is more passionate in the world for what they do than those two dudes? I mean, other dudes in the same company, I would imagine. But, you know what I mean? Like,
We hope.
Yeah, we hope. But, like, fuck, the idea of them sitting down and being like, hey, this is going to be our match. Like, I'm so anxious and excited to see what they put together because they also figured out a way to make this match happen. And I know when Edge first made his return, he was on After the Bell with Corey Graves. And he was mentioning that there's people he definitely wanted to wrestle now that he was back, and Seth was one that he mentioned. So it's like, he's been thinking about it, man. He's been thinking about it a long time. So I'm so hyped for this. This promo did everything I needed to get me there. It's awesome. What's going on?
On the chat, Micah was going back saying that he did not know that about Shotzi. I don't watch NXT, and she's never said that on TV. So.
All right. I mean, I didn't hear it in a conversation with her. It wasn't an
Excuse
interview.
me.
I know that they did like a vignette on her once, but I think at the end of the day, I think she had tweeted out a story about it when her helmet got stolen on Twitter. So.
I remember that too.
Yeah.
She was all upset, and I was like, "Go buy another helmet." But it was like, I think she said it was one of her family members' helmet, right?
Oh,
Something like that.
I remember.
Like it
thinking,
actually had. Yeah, like it actually had personal value to her.
Yeah.
But she left all her stuff, her gear, in a car.
Yeah.
So it got stolen from the car.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So. All right. I'm just trying to deal with toxic Micah is all it is. Hashtag Micah is toxic. That's all. Just trying to.
He did say also, Marsh, take a drink for Trevor Moore. Rest in peace.
Fuck yeah, Trevor Moore passed away. He was a comedian, not a wrestler. I don't know if he has a connection to the wrestling world at all. But yeah, he did pass away in an accident is what I read. I don't know more than that. But he was largely regaled as a comedic genius, and I can't argue that. I did see one thing today on that note, right before we do our tears and our beers for him, but he had tweeted out, when I pass away in my obituary, I wanted to read Local Sex Pot. and someone, I want to say it was like Variety magazine, when they put in the story about him passing away, they said actor, comedian, and local sex pot. And someone pointed that out, and I was like, fucking cheers, man. Cheers. You know. Yep. I don't know if you...
Hold on, I'm pouring one.
You're pouring one? All right.
Yep. So I can give him a proper cheers.
Yeah. Proper number
Proper
cheers. Proper cheers.
Proper cheers. Well, cheers. Cheers my beers for him.
Yep. All right, after that, we did have... Oh, go ahead.
One more thing I had before that. There's that weird segment of Zelina backstage where they were asking her about something, and she said that she wasn't there for the title. And it was like...
Really?
What the fuck? Yeah. That's all I wrote down, and I remember when I wrote it down thinking, like, well, why the fuck are you here? Why, you know? But she said something to that effect, that she wasn't there for the title and something else.
Huh. I know that she was telling them that she didn't care what they had to say, and she goes, I'm just here because I want you to say your championship title match is up next, I thought. I remember thinking that backstage segment was good. Selena's so good. Dude, I'll be honest with you. Today, there's a new episode of Pro Wrestling for Life on. All sorts of places, Fight TV, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts. And in that interview, he talks about when he got released, and he talks about how his wife was sitting there crying because she had just re-signed with the company, and part of the reason that they had decided she would was they would be together and they'd be on the same show and they'd be able to tour together as touring started happening. That really makes me feel like, because he also said multiple times in this interview that he does not see himself ever going back to WWE, that it's something he did, he accomplished, he got a lot out of, that he appreciates what he learned. He still hears a lot of those teaching in his head as he's plotting together what he's going to do next now, that he got so much out of it, but also that he wasn't a great fit there the way that he feels like he's going to be and is a great fit at AEW. And so he doesn't foresee himself ever going back to WWE, is his current mindset. Now, I mean, we all have heard it time and time again, never say never, over and over again. There's always a possibility, who knows, but it's not for the foreseeable future, if anything. It makes me wonder if we're really on a short-term leash with Zelina again. If it's like, hey, she's not going to resign.
I assume you're talking about Aleister Black or Malachi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malachi Black.
Yeah. I was lost for a second. But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. It makes me wonder. It does make me wonder if any of that has anything to do with the fact that she's been losing since she got there, but cutting amazing promos. Like, let's use her, but let's use her. Like, I don't know. And maybe that's not even part of the deal. They might want to get as much as they can out of her while they can, you know?
Well, look at Lana.
Yeah.
I thought once Rusev or Miro left, I thought, okay, they're going to officially shit on Lana and stuff like that. And they gave her the biggest push of her career.
That's true.
They
You
had
just
to
never know.
put her through a table 15 times, but
Yeah, but they could have made merch with that. They could have had Lana going through table T-shirts. They could have had a new Elite Lana that came with a broken table. Like, you could have done stuff.
Lana the Table Destroyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Well, after that, we did have a promo backstage with the old Finn Balor. They did show a little promo segment of the segment before where Roman Reigns is all like, John Cena doesn't think you're worthy, doesn't think you're good, he thinks you're lesser than, and Roman's like, not me, I think you're worthy. I'm still going to smash you and put my thumb in you, but... What?
He didn't say that part.
More or less. And then, in this one, Balor's talking to Kayla, and he said, I'm done. He goes, when I'm done with Baron Corbin, I've got to pick all over John Cena's bone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But he looked intense. He looked good. And he's like, fuck you dudes. And I liked it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Said
I
he was
just
going to take
remembered-
Roman's sloppy seconds.
Yes.
I just remembered the line from Heyman looking at Kayla saying, I know you hear this a lot, but
I'm not in the mood.
I'm not in the mood. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a funny little cheap shot. Let's see.
Maybe that's who Roman and Missionary was talking about.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
Same
That's how
bar
they get the mumps.
Missionary.
That's how they get the mumps. Let's see. After that, we had the Dirty Dogs against the Profits, Street Profits.
So
go ahead.
they kept talking about how the Profits returned.
Yeah.
And they're back.
Yeah.
I never knew they left or were gone.
Well, they didn't quite leave. Ford was injured, and he hasn't been in the ring for months. They kept doing stuff with Dawkins, and they would do stuff where sometimes they would both come out, but they hadn't been in a tag match together in months. This is the return of the tag team, as it were.
I still never knew that they were gone.
Well, I mean, they stayed on TV.
Then again, when they come out, I don't watch much of it.
Yeah, me neither. I saw part
Except
of it and
for
it was fine, but
I was gonna bring it up, but what was it? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when they had that music festival?
yeah,
that was a fucking disaster. Having them out there and like
that was bad.
I was gonna say, because I put it in my notes last week and then again this week, but they, it's a hip hop festival. You're throwing wrestling out there. I think they just dropped the ball on who they should have billed there.
Yeah.
Like putting Otis or Gable and Dawkins out there. It was like, why? Like, I think you throw the Usos and the Mysterios out there. Ray has the recognition. Like some of those guys might have been like, oh, I remember watching this guy back in the day.
Yeah.
And just seeing the athletic ability, put Ricochet out there, like, oh my God, you'd win some fans with the shit Ricochet does.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
like,
to put Dawkins and even Carmella and Bianca, like I was like, okay, they're forcing a title match so they see the title, but most people don't know who they are. Like I said, if you'd have thrown the Usos and the Mysterios, everyone would have been like, oh shit, I remember Rey Mysterio. Oh shit, that's his son. That's cool. Tag team belts, cool. But I think they were checked out with both of those matches, and it was.
I think they checked out during the Gable match. I think that they didn't give a shit and they couldn't see. Like when you even like had the drone shots, they were like 30 feet away from the ring and 6 feet below it. You're like, you can't see in there, and there's no monitors.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have any screens. But I think that the thing that they messed up on was it would have made sense with Carmella and Bianca because they are very pretty and very athletic. Like you could have potentially drawn in fans who would have noticed these women are wrestling. But I think, they shit the bed in the beginning and everyone just checked out. By the time they came out, they didn't give a shit anymore. I would have had I would have had an out of storyline match, just like the Mysterios and Ricochet against the New Day and do 3-on-3. And then you have people on the outside of the ring. You have people who are able to talk to the crowd. You'd have the New Day could come out to Wale singing them out to the ring because Big E comes out to that. They can all come out to Big E's song. You know what I mean? Like then you get a concert and a show, and you're fucking done. You're done. Now people are happy because they saw a show and saw more. But this was like a weird flat way to do it. Especially Wale walked out like he didn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, I'm here.
Well, no, and it kind of left Wale to bear the brunt of hyping the crowd up, which is not cool because, I mean, he's not a wrestler.
Yeah, but he should have been able to control that crowd better than a wrestler would. But if he was doing what he does and they know him for, and he was out there to say like, hey, I'm just out here, I'm not really doing anything, everyone's all like, well, what the fuck are you doing out here then? It's just,
Yeah. I mean, Wale didn't do himself any favors. Like he runs out there and like, you know who I am, or whatever he said, and it was like, no, like most people don't know who Wale is.
Well, at the concert, I think people did, but more people knew who Wale did but he didn't come out excited. And he didn't say anything
Yeah.
exciting. He was just all like, "Hey guys."
Yeah.
So
Dude, even if they had like a battle royal or something like that,
yeah, they should have done
just
something.
get the
else.
crowd involved. And, yeah. Like it just,
Yeah.
it seemed like a dumpster fire.
No good. Let's
But
see.
anyways,
After that, we did
back
have
to the Street Profits.
Yeah, so they're back. They had their match. It was fine. But after that, we had Bianca versus Zelina. What do you think of this match, man?
I mean, I thought it was all right. Like, I don't understand why they immediately said that's what it was. It wasn't Zelina isn't there for the title. They're not letting Zelina have the title match.
Yes.
That's what that promo was.
Yes. She had to
And
win
I was
this
like,
match
well,
to
why?
prove she gets one.
Yeah, and I was like, well, why? Because even their excuse was not even that she didn't deserve it. It was, we couldn't market it.
Yeah.
We couldn't do this. I was like, so you can never again have a on the spot title match because you're not marketing it.
She's not Charlotte.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't promote it. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
I
it's
don't know.
like, I think it was
Yeah.
stupid, especially because when they said that, I was like, oh, Zelina's gonna go over. Fine, cool, let's see it. And then it didn't, obviously it didn't happen. And then it was like, well, then why the fuck wasn't it for the title? Put it for the title. You make everyone were they in Chicago or Milwaukee or
Something.
I forgot where they were exactly, but you have everyone there excited that they get to see a title match.
Yeah.
And instead, because like I said, as soon as they said it's not for the title, I'm like, cool, Zelina's going over. This is gonna add to, the storyline, and it didn't. And I was like, huh.
Yeah, because it would definitely add to the idea of like, oh, are we really going to get Sasha and Bianca? Or are we going to end up getting Sasha and Zelina? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, they really kind of squashed that one. Here's my problem with the match. I thought the match was like good in and of itself as a match. My problem was the commentary. Was every time Bianca would do something or lift Zelina, they would say, oh, the sheer power of Zelina to lift another human being. I'm like, Zelina's the size of a child, and I say that with all due respect. And I
to
also,
children.
yes, to children. But I also say that in that you can still put over how strong Bianca is without putting over how heavy you think Zelina is. Like, we've seen Bianca lift the likes of Tamina. So if what you say is say something like, oh, Bianca's lifted Nia Jax. She's got that much power behind her. Imagine the amount of force she can apply when she throws Zelina. You know?
Yeah. Well, she carried Otis.
Yeah.
Like, like you said, like it's not Hogan picking up Andre right now.
Yeah.
It's, that's Hogan picking up Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. It's not a feat, if you will.
Exactly.
The same thing happened the week before when the tandem offense that I fucking hated, when Bianca picks up Sasha and throws her on, whoever they were facing. I can't remember right now. But
yeah,
it's like you said, it's not a huge feat for her to pick up Zelina. Like you said,
not at all.
It's it's her picking up Alexa. Like you got the smallest ones in their division, and they're like, "Oh my god, look at this!" And it's like, fucking relax. She didn't like throw her over the top rope, standing on the ground.
Yeah, but also just reword what you're saying, and you can get the same point across without sounding ridiculous. Instead of saying the sheer power to be able to lift a human that size, you're like, no, that's not sheer power. You talk about the sheer force she can apply, knowing the amount of power that we know that she has. We've seen her utilize her absolute power and strength to deadlift Otis. We've seen her pick up Nia Jax and slam her. Imagine the amount of force she can put to someone who's a fraction of their weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Olympics just happened. Just compared to like shot put.
Yeah.
Like, wow, she's picked up other people in the past. Like, she's gonna throw her out of the arena.
Yeah, 100%. And then you talk about the resilience of Zelina, but not being put out by that. Like, I don't see why it was so weird. But they kept talking about just the power to lift up a human, and you're like, I've seen Zelina, and I thought it was a kid. I think she's really athletic, and I'm not even saying she didn't belong in a match. I'm just saying lifting Zelina is not a feat of strength that shows power. Kuro's coming through. Cheers to Kuro.
Cheers.
Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, but they mentioned Zelina. I want to say it was Pat that said, "Oh, Zelina coming back from vacation." I was like, "Oh, is that where she was?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that. I laughed too. They're like, "Oh, she's back from her vacation." I was like, "Her Twitch vacation?"
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. The vacation will be televised.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought the match was actually good. I thought without commentary, it was a good match, and I thought that it flowed well, and I thought they worked really well together. I thought Zelina looked better than she has in some of her past matches, so I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Kuro's like, lifting Zelina's like lifting a sack of flour. Yeah, but talk about how easy it would be to throw a sack of flour and break it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I can destroy this person.
We had to carry those things around for home ec for a week.
100%.
No one bragged how strong we were.
Yeah. The absolute
my
feat of
nana.
strength here.
Yeah. Hercules.
Yeah. I did like this. Right before the main event, they cut over to Roman and Paul, where Paul's like, hey, the Finn Balor Baron Corbin match is next. And Roman's like, I'm going to be watching this one. And they kind of left it at that. I was like, what an amazing way. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I wrote that in my notes. I was like, you know what, Roman? I'm interested too.
Yeah, 100%. But I thought, like, how perfect. You know what I mean? Like, what an amazing way to lead into the match and explain how important it is without the commentary having to do it. You know what I mean? Commentary didn't say, like, hey, this is going to be an important one. You want to watch it. It was Paul Heyman saying, this is up next, and Roman saying, this is so important that I need to be watching it. So then you're all like, well, shit, I better watch it. You know, I just thought it was done so masterfully there. And then the match itself was fucking fantastic, with Baron at the very beginning of it just being like, wait, give me a mic. And he goes, look, man, I know it wasn't cool. We just really need a hand right now. It was so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Match happened. Balor beats the shit out of Corbin, cuts a promo on Roman, calling him a little bitch and stuff. And then Roman Reigns comes down and says, you know what, use a little bitch. And then they kind of go back and forth a little bit. Usos come out and level out Finn Balor. And then Roman smashes, stacks, and thumbs Finn Balor. No. What? You thumbed
like the Crocodile Hunter.
Like the Crocodile Hunter. Yeah, 100%. Kev, what do you think about the whole main event thing? I loved it. I don't have so much to say about it because it's just, this is perfect. This is exactly where Finn Balor should be. It's exactly where Roman should be. I think it's exactly where Corbin should be. I love it.
Yeah. You know, I liked it. I thought it was good. I just kept waiting for somebody, you know, even the Mysterios to come out and like help Finn. Like it, you know, I just kept waiting for that. And, you know, this is where I think SmackDown has got it, and it's my kind of wrestling that I like is, you know, like I'm waiting for it. You know, like I said, you know, back in the day, WWF at the time and WCW, you'd always wait for those run-ins. All right, what's happening next? What's, you know, who's going to help? You know, and, you know, I like the unpredictability of it at times. Excuse me. That's why I stay off the dirt sheets a lot of the times and stuff like that, because I just want to sit back and enjoy and expect the unexpected, if you will. And I don't think the other shows do that.
I don't think they do. And I'll tell you, you bring up a really good point because it's something we even talked about while it was happening, and I'm glad you brought it up because it reminded me. I want to talk about it. This was really bad for Finn because this is all happening, and everyone stands up and starts looking towards the ramp. They start chanting, "We want Cena," and they start chanting for Cena. No one's cheering for Balor when he gets in any blows on Roman. They're hardly booing Roman when he's getting in blows on Balor, but they keep looking, expecting, and calling for Cena. And I was like, this isn't good. They're ignoring what's happening in the ring and saying, we want Cena. That's not a good thing for Balor. You know what I mean? They needed to be cheering when Balor got some offense in on Roman. You know what I mean? and they barely did.
That's as bad as them when they were chanting Becky during Charlotte.
It shows you how much over Becky is over Charlotte. It says we'd rather Becky than Charlotte. I mean, that's what it shows you. Hey, we'd rather Cena than Balor.
No, that's Becky over Charlotte's good. Balor needs to get some love.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was going to say. Continue.
I was going to say also that it was, I mean, we'll get to it because it happened on Raw, so we'll talk about it, but it's as bad as during Alexa's segments when they're just chanting, "We want Wyatt." You're not showing support for someone else. You're shitting on someone there because they're trying to gauge if something's working or not working, or if you like someone or don't, based off your reaction. And if you're ignoring what the person in the ring is doing and saying you want to see someone else, you're not telling them, hey, we love these guys, but we also think this other person should be involved in the story here. What they're hearing is, we don't give a fuck about anybody here. We want those other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm
what I was going to say is, I think it's weird because, you know, I didn't watch Balor much in NXT. I saw him sparingly. But I think Balor's in this weird, like, limbo where you can't tell if he's a heel or a face.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you don't know if you're supposed to boo him or you're supposed to cheer him. And, you know, I know a lot of people only watch the Raws and Smackdowns and don't watch NXT. So, you know, seeing this, I don't want to say this new Balor because he's not completely new, but, you know, he's got a different edge to him.
Yeah. And he even said that other Balor's dead. You know, I'm not smiling. That Balor's dead. You know?
Yeah. So it's like, well, are we supposed to boo him? Are we supposed to, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do think that the idea is I think we're supposed to be cheering him because I think that he's just a badass. He's like the James Dean, you know?
Yeah.
Stoic and badass and mean and all that shit, where before he was just smiley, happy-go-lucky, I'm just happy to be here kind of shit. So,
except for when he was the demon.
Except for the demon. Like, this is more he's demon all the time and less he's demon when it's convenient. Although, he did say in an interview he thinks the demon will be back. So, that'll be
nice. Cool. He better be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we don't get him versus Bray. Or the Fiend. Yeah. Fiend and Demon. Ooh, that would have been amazing. Wet dream match right there.
Yeah, that's it right there. Boner match. Boner match. Mm-hmm. What?
Oh, yeah.
This is why we drink.
I forgot about the sound effect. It was a good one. It's classic. Absolute classic. Yeah, that's how it ended. That's how Raw ended, or SmackDown ended. Cena, I think, showed up after the cameras were off, and some people got what they wanted. But I am a little bit nervous for Finn Balor at this point because he's finally where I think he really ought to be, and the crowd maybe inadvertently shit on Finn in their attempted support for Cena, and it's like, you really got to be careful with that, you know. The conversation between crowd reaction and backstage, I don't believe, is quite as nuanced as all of us on the podcasting waves want to pretend. Well, what the audience is meaning, and they didn't mean this. Oh, what they were trying to say. No. We heard what they said, and there's only so many ways you can interpret it, and it's not the nuanced. If it took you 45 minutes to explain it on your podcast, it's not that nuanced in the back. They're not sitting down to break it down for 45 minutes. Like, well, do they really not like this person? Or are they just trying to say this other? They're just going, they're not paying attention at all to the person in the ring. Make a note of that. And they're moving on. Yeah. They don't have 45 minutes to talk about what could it mean.
Yeah.
So,
see, the other thing I was going to bring up, too, is do you think this is the end of Baron versus Finn?
I mean, I wouldn't say forever, but I would say that
not forever, but in this like current storyline.
Yeah, I think Corbin is kind of flopping around through in and out of stories. He's being utilized as sort of a gun for hire, as it were, sword for hire, they say in D&D. Like he's kind of a mercenary. He just needs money, so he's trying to do favors for people. So I think we're going to see him pop up in all sorts of storylines. And this was just the end of this iteration of his beef with Balor. Because he's also not coming off like, hey, I've got a real problem with Finn. It's all like, hey, I see an opportunity I can take advantage of, which also makes him kind of an interesting and volatile character.
But see, at the same time, I think not so much from the Baron aspect, but for the Finn aspect is I'd still be pissed. Like, yes, you did still cost me a Universal title shot.
Yeah.
You know, I would, you know, be out for blood, if you will. Not just a one-off match and that's it.
No, but I think that there's other ways to have Balor be involved, and I think that's what we're going to see is more Balor involved in the story. Justin's in the chat saying WWE shouldn't have jumped the gun throwing Finn Balor out there with Roman. It's just too soon, and it's more the focus instead of Roman and Cena. But I think what they're doing is they're also planning for when Cena's not there. We got SummerSlam in a week, dude. Like, it's coming right up. So this puts Balor in the conversation the second that it's over. And by keeping him in this story, it shows that there's a relevance. It shows that there's believability in it. If Cena can't get it done, maybe Balor will. And maybe Cena doesn't win at SummerSlam. And maybe Cena doesn't win the following SmackDown or the SmackDown before. Maybe Cena loses to Finn on his way to SummerSlam and then beats fucking Roman at SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Like, there's just ways that they can go about it that keeps Finn Balor in the conversation past SummerSlam. And I think that if they just made this whole thing feel like Roman and Cena, then it would feel short-sighted, like, okay, but then what's after SummerSlam? Right now we're moving at a pace that's like, oh, as soon as Cena gets his shot, we're going to see Balor talking about the Universal title, Balor against either one of them, Balor against both of them. Like, it sets it up nicely,
I definitely, I agree with that, you know, whoever wins, Finn pretty much is next in line. He's pretty much got the number one contender stamp, already. And, you know, Finn versus Cena, that'd be interesting. Finn versus Balor. I mean, that'd be cool. Finn versus Roman, you know, would be interesting as well. You know, they set it up storyline where it's like, cool, after this one's over, then we go here, and I'm for it. Like, a lot of times they don't do it. Like, after SummerSlam, Bobby or Goldberg, whoever's the championship, who do they got next?
Yeah, who's next?
Who's next, if you will?
Yeah, there's nobody on deck over there. So, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I keep saying, that SmackDown's doing it all so much better. Just so much more fluidly. Like, they have these stories that are going with things that are intertwining in between them. It just makes sense longer.
And Justin, I agree with you at first when they first threw Finn in with Roman, where I was like, okay, and then it was like, wait, he's playing second fiddle. I was with you where I was like, no, this is stupid. You know, you're making Finn look like a jobber almost. But then it's like, cool, now it's what's happening after. And then I was okay with it.
Yeah, 100%. Kiro saying Cena's already agreed to work days after SummerSlam. He also was in an interview where he had said that he was only asked to work a couple shows at all, and had them sign him up for a bunch more. The whole summer of Cena was Cena's idea. They asked him to just do like a couple like little pop appearances to pop the crowd, and he was like, no, I want to do a run. And they're all like, if you can, yeah, we'll do that. And then Kiro is saying also there's already audio clips of the audio saying 17-time world champion that weren't for Ric Flair. WWE's hired new audio people because they really screwed that up. If you're talking about that weird audio clip that happened during it was, I think, SmackDown last week during one of the entrances, you could kind of hear it overlap. It's from the promo that they have for Cena and Roman. They say in there he may, will he become the 17-time world champion? And that's all that was a clip from that. Like it was overlapped to the audio. If you go back and watch the video of the other thing, it's just that. So it wasn't like this weird introducing. It wasn't anything like that. So
and
you want to talk
now.
about? Yeah, and now it's time. Did you want to talk about Raw or anything else you want to say about SmackDown?
No, I think we're done with the show. Good night, everybody.
All right, good. Sounds good to me. Kira says it happened on a dark match on Raw. Well, I didn't see a dark match. They're dark.
All right.
I'll check on YouTube.
On to Raw.
Hey, I assume that was a match that happened on AEW Dark, so I'll check that. Raw opened up with the Viper. My head was in my head, in my head, my head, my head. My voice is head. My voice is head.
Oh my god.
What?
That was fucking terrible.
What are you talking about, man? That was Randy Orton stuff.
No.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's how Randy is.
That was
That
not good.
was Roseanne Barr singing the national anthem.
That was a good time. Good time to be alive. When Randy came out, what I thought was really cool, he comes out and he just kind of smiles, look at the crowd, and you could see his mouth. He's like, "I've missed every single one of you sons of bitches or motherfuckers." I don't remember which one it was. It was really cool.
That's so Randy.
Yeah. Oh, Randy. Yeah. 100%. Let's see. But he came out there and cut that promo, or started to cut a promo, and then Riddle came out. I kind of halfway checked out. They were going back and forth, and I don't know, man. You tell me what you thought about all this.
I was invested. I loved it. Literally in my notes, I have Randy, Riddle, AJ. Oh my!
That's so good.
I might have been drinking when I saw Raw, but I loved it. I thought it was good. We knew once Randy came back, Riddle would be right there. And, their promo, and then with AJ, it's like cool. It sets up, matches that we want to see and stuff like that. And I liked it. I was all for it.
All right. A lot of people were into it. I just wasn't. But it was good, and Randy did awesome. So. TP Poker. Coming through. Cheers to TP Poker.
Cheers.
Yep. Just because of when we're doing this, I do have the AEW on my screen, and we're watching it. It's been on for over half an hour now. I'll tell you if anything happens that I think's relevant or decent. So that's what I mean. I'm just saying, if a big thing happens that seems like good, I'll be like, oh, this happened. What do you think, Kev? But so far, this has been terrible. Then you had AJ come out. And he cut a promo on Randy. I thought AJ was awesome.
Yeah.
What's up? What do you think?
Oh, my hand?
Yeah, your arm.
The Suns lost, and I went to Milwaukee and stumbled upon the Bucks championship parade.
Yeah,
and hit a fire hydrant.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
God
Let's
damn it.
see. Do you think they clearly are, right? They're building towards Randy and Matt Riddle against almost an AJ for the title? The tag titles?
Yeah, I mean, see, yeah, I think they are.
I think they still are, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing was, Randy kept saying, "Oh, I'm working alone. And the whole time he's wearing an RKO or RK Bro shirt.
Yeah.
Or hoodie, and I was like, okay. And even looking at it, when he's like, no, we're not partners and that, I'm like, bro, you're wearing y'all's shirt. Like,
yeah.
Shawn Michaels wasn't wearing a rocker shirt when he super kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. That's true. He's still trying to sell those sweaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be a good match. Almost AJ, Riddle, and Randy. Those guys are all good. So I guess it would be a good match.
Yeah, see, I think no one else in Raw, like, I don't see who else would get a title shot.
That's a good point. When you look at the tag teams in general, there's not a lot there.
New Day's there, but at the same time, they kind of haven't been lately.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only person they've ever feuded with.
Yeah.
Do they have other tag teams on Raw? They have to, right?
No. Survivor Series 2019, I think it was, all over again. 18.
Yeah, it could be. Where they had to make a bunch of them real quick before Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So funny.
Didn't they even pull up some from NXT? Like,
Yes.
wasn't Lucha House Party all of a sudden like, here, you're on Team Raw, come here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. The Baron Corbin backstage promo I thought was awesome, where he was there to face Drew McIntyre because Jinder offered him money to do it, and he said that he's been sleeping in the production truck.
He enacted the wild card rule.
Oh, and I know you don't follow, Kev, you don't really follow on Twitter, but apparently there was some people are getting all up in arms on this Corbin persona, and I didn't understand why.
It was hysterical. It was all these big AEW fans who say, this is why I don't watch WWE. They're literally mocking the poor. Someone was like, it's very telling that the company thinks that this is how people view the poor and how they can just mock people who don't have money. He goes, it's also pretty telling of their audience. This is why I'm with AEW.
You can't see it, but Kev has this big old smile on his face.
Yeah, this is their mockery of the poor, dude. I don't know why they weren't up in arms about Cameron Grimes. I don't know why they don't think that the LA Knight is a terrible mockery of the rich. It seems like I don't understand where they're coming from. I also think that it's a little bit bizarre because in AEW Dark, was it this week or the week before, they had a tag team on there called Bums Are Us. They were in dirty clothes and literally came out to the ring panhandling to the front row with little tin cans. And I was like, that's not a mockery.
Well, you know what's funny about that is I was waiting, like, because I saw somebody in the crowd, like, holding up some bill. I don't know how much it was.
Yeah.
But I was waiting for people to just start handing, like, front row people, just start handing Corbin money.
There were people in the front row holding up dollar bills and stuff and waving them at him. It was great. But yeah, it's just that whole stupid, and that's their mentality. And then nobody's complaining about, I mean, because we've talked about it here, because we're honest, and we are honest about our biases. They don't have any issues with notable straight edge Adam Page pretending to be an unreliable drunk and mocking the people with alcohol addictions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's a dude who's never drank in his life, and he's pretending to be drunk, and everyone's like, this is fine, it's a character. But Corbin literally is asked, how much is it going to take to get you a shower? And he said $100,000. They're not mocking the poor.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid that it's like, maybe you shouldn't watch wrestling. It seems complicated.
But,
put on Nickelodeon.
Well, exactly, because no, that's too complicated for them too. PBS.
Yeah, start over. We need to start over entirely. Start with Sesame Street and work your way up again. This stuff's too complex for you, and it's simple. Yeah, Reading Rainbow is a good one.
But because if you like these idiots that complain that they're mocking the poor, and how much is it going to take for you to take a shower? Like, all you have to do is just think about it. Well, they're in the locker room. They're in a stadium or an arena where there's showers back there. I'm sure he's taking a shower, like, I just don't get people. People are stupid.
It's so stupid that it was funny. I saw it and I was like, how do you even engage with this and not just ask that person, are you 11 years old? Like, let's start there, because this is where it seems like you're stuck.
I know,
but it was
Twitter handle baby 2019 or not 1909.
Yeah, it was insane. I was just like honestly, I mean, you guys weren't thinking that Corbin was mocking the wealthy when he was saying, I have a $10,000 watch. My watch is more expensive than your whole wardrobe. When he's throwing affluence in someone's face, and then he's down on his luck because he's $100,000 shy of what he would like to be making right now. Like, that's not mocking the, like, that's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, and with the AEW as well, one time I watched last year where I think one of them super kicked Tony Schiavone, and they're like, oh, that's going to be a fine. And they're like, oh, it's $10,000. And they threw money at him.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to fine you for that. So they threw money at him. It's like,
They're
you
mocking
know,
the rich,
wrestling.
right?
Yeah, wrestling as a satire or is a satire, and
Yes.
you know, you take it with a grain of salt.
You take it as a TV show. I told the
Yeah.
producer the other night, and I was like, well, I sure hope the people who thought that about Corbin never watch the show Shameless, because they're going to be really fucking upset. Like, fucking relax. Like, it's so stupid.
I thought Shameless was a documentary.
Yeah, might as well be. TB Poker's asking, Corbin hasn't drank in his life. What a prude. Not him, Adam Page. Adam Page never had a drink, and so that's why him pretending to be a drunk comes off really awkward to everybody because he doesn't know what he's doing. But that's art. It's not mockery because AEW is doing it.
Yeah, as someone who's grown up, you know, I would say with not a lot of money, I think this is hilarious because when you learn that line that he says, "Oh, it'll take 100,000," it's like, no, these poor people aren't thinking that. We're thinking, you know, man, I wish I had more than, I don't know, $50 to buy groceries this week. You know, like, man, I wish. They're not like going after food stamps. They're not going after actual reality. You know, they're making it ridiculous. So they're not making fun of us poor people. So
that's a good point. I bet you more poor people are laughing at Corbin than rich people.
That's what they need to do. They need to have Baron Corbin take a page out of Old Dirty Bastards playbook and go apply for food stamps.
That'd be so good, dude.
But get denied because he's way over the threshold of how much he makes.
Yeah.
But that's even the worst part is when Old Dirty Bastard did it on MTV, he got approved.
Yeah. They're so like, yeah. Well, yeah, but he had wasted a lot of money. He didn't have much.
He was in the middle of his heyday. His next album had his food stamp card as the fucking cover.
Was it? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I thought he blew it all on drugs, though. I don't know. Maybe I just don't know. Poker says, I wish I had $10 to get a lap dance. Yeah, do stuff like that, man. But this
coming up on the main stage, Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually tweeted out, like, I think a week ago or so, like, my shoe, the sole, like, split in half from the shoe part. So it looked like, you know, my shoe was talking, and I was like, oh, man, just when you think you're all right this Friday, it turns out your life has gone Corbin style.
Yeah. Yep. Just fucking Corbined out. The match itself against Drew and Drew's promo before, I don't get it, man. Like, he was being such a dick. And Drew, everything Drew does with that sword is absolute fucking garbage.
Yeah.
I don't understand for 1 second anybody who's liking this sword business. If he's literally allowed to brandish a sword and swing it at people, what's stopping the next guy from just having a gun? Like, what
or
the
a tank
fuck
with
is
a
this?
fucking missile.
Started with Shotzi, goddammit.
Yeah.
Shotzi offset this whole thing.
But also,
He comes out with a sword and they all look at Shotzi. You see what you've done?
Look at.
I thought
Lead
it
by
was,
example.
I thought it was just supposed to be decorative, and we all knew it was Vince's sword because he announced to the world that, oh, he just gave it to me.
Yeah.
Thought it looked cool. Okay. But now you're using it in the ring. It's not necessary, man.
Literally swinging at people who are holding chairs. And commentary's having to put it over. You don't bring a chair to a sword fight. No one thought it was a fucking sword fight. We thought it was a fucking wrestling match.
Yeah, who said anything about chairs?
Yeah, how is this going around and still being seen? When did Stone Cold ever come out with a fucking weapon? The closest you got is when he held a gun to Vince, pulls the trigger, makes Vince pees his pants, and it says bang, a little flag pops out. You think you're really fucking badass having a legitimate sword and swinging it at people? You look like a fucking idiot.
Stone Cold had monster trucks and shit like that, and sprayed people with beer.
Yeah. When's that a
He had
weapon?
weapons. Yeah. Well,
Beer's not a weapon.
in the wrong hands it is.
Thank you, TP Poker. TP Poker's in the chat saying, I'd be happy to buy you a new shoe. And I hope he
Singular.
sits on that sword. Actually, I bought some glue,
Singular
some
shoe.
super shoe glue, so I'm good. And good cop, bad cop wrestling podcast says Americans pronounce the W in sword. Wow. Never mind, it was just this once. No, that's just us, man. That's just smart.
Jinder said it too. Jinder said it like 2 weeks ago. He's like, he came out with his
He's
sword.
Canadian. I know, he's Canadian. And I laughed so hard when he said sword. I was
I
like, oh.
loved it. And I was like, oh shit, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Jinder's listening. Yeah.
But Marsh, aren't you excited for the tables, ladders, and swords match coming up?
It's going to be so good. Sword on a pole.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid, dude. Like, and that's just it. Is
And
what are they building to? Because every single time, like, I mean, when they would lead to like ladder matches, someone would constantly be, or I mean, ladder's not always the best example, but like when they would lead to a chairs match or a tables match, or they would lead to something on a pole match, someone would be using the thing so much that it became part of the match. You're gonna fucking tell me at some point we're having a sword match?
A sword and
some
the stone
kind?
match.
Yeah. And out comes Robert Stone, and he's like, I swear to God, guys, I did not read the contract when I signed it. I just thought it was awful. And then the way that Drew picks up the mic and just starts talking shit to Corbin, it's like, do you think you look
mid-match?
cool?
Ugh.
Mid-match.
Yeah.
Fucking what
I was
a
like,
dick.
who the fuck gave him a microphone? You're in a match.
And when has a babyface ever used a microphone in their own match and not been called an asshole? You know what I mean? Like, heels do that. That's a heel move, to commentate your own fucking match.
Good cop, bad cops asking, leading to a He-Man cross promotion.
Oh my God, they do have those. They do have those He-Man toys
The
now.
Masters. Yeah, the Masters
Yeah.
of the Universe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's where we're going. Fucking Christ, dude. As much as I thought Corbin was awesome here, and as much as I thought the match in and of itself wasn't bad, everything surrounding the match
terrible.
with Drew was fucking garbage, dude. And the second he fucking whips out his sword and starts dangling around and whipping it around and flipping it and doing the helicopter, I'm like, fucking stop. The fucking fact he named it for some stupid reason. The sword's got to go, man. It's just got to go.
Well, no. It's a stupid reason because I was going to bring that
Leave
up
him alone
too.
for naming
I
it?
understand he named it after his mom that died last year or a couple years ago, I think he said. But the whole basis of the fucking sword was that it was a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Who names a family heirloom after somebody from the family?
Yeah. I just thought it didn't connect, and I thought it was a cheap pop is what it felt like. It was cheap babyface bullshit. Because,
Yeah.
for one, the first time he ever shows on with it, he goes on several podcasts and say, yeah, it's not mine, it's Vince's. We're just using it because we thought it would look cool. So you've already destroyed the whole fucking story with it. Just drop it. And now they keep going with it. And now he's naming it. And you're like, I thought this thing's been in your family for generations. Did your grandfather never name it? Like, if naming swords was a thing, did your grandfather just neglect that and just call it some bastard sword? It just doesn't make sense. I just think it's dumb and it's fucking stupid, man.
And then he called it a bitch.
Yeah,
Angela can be a bitch too.
it's a good point. Good point. But yeah, I don't like any of that stuff.
No. Then after that, we had Jeff Hardy and Karrion Kross.
How interesting, right? And then so Jeff Hardy's got his old music back when he was on his singles tear. I think it's called No More Words or some shit. He comes out. He was looking good. It was a really good match, all things considered, and Karrion Kross got the win. What? So you don't watch NXT. What do you think of Karrion Kross right now?
Well, I stopped watching NXT when Kross got injured. So I'm kind of familiar with him. I still don't know where what's her name? Pamela? Scarlett. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I still don't know where she's at.
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know why they're not doing anything with her. It's becoming less and less clear where the direction's going with this. The fact he still has the NXT title and is coming out as NXT champion is still weird to me because it's not a prominent storyline. It's not like when Kevin Owens showed up with the NXT title and he was answering the open challenge to John Cena for his US title or the Intercontinental title or something. And it's not like he started it by bum rushing someone on the level of Cena, saying we down in NXT we matter, we're on this level. Cross is coming in like a random guy.
Yeah.
He's just this dude who comes out. Now, granted, I think he's awesome. I love his Raw presentation because the other thing I think that NXT does poorly is I think they utilize their specific environment to their advantage specifically. It was a very small building, so they could feed fog into the entranceway and it would feed into the ring. So the entrance had fog that filled up the whole fucking arena. You can't do that when it's a fucking stadium or when it's an actual arena. This wasn't even an arena. The little PC that they were doing it in, it was tiny. So they're like, hey, we can fill up this whole room with smoke. How cool would that be? Right, but now when he goes to the main roster, you can't fucking do that. They're in a fucking ballpark. You know what I mean? They're in a basketball stadium.
On his entrance is just so like watered down because of that, and because, you know, like I said, Scarlett's not there. Like what I remember is she had a big presence during his entrance.
Yes.
And, you know, he's just kind of standing there and he's like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah.
And then goes to the ring.
And even before Cross showed up, they'd already had Scarlett there. And she showed up and she was watching people wrestle. And they're like, what the fuck is she doing here? And they started playing those vignettes that were all like Armageddon and it would say TikTok. And then at one point she comes out and screams TikTok at somebody. And they're like, what the fuck is happening? And then when he shows up, it's a whole fucking deal. But he's just kind of walking out there. TV Poker's in the chat a little bit saying that, if I whipped out my sword in public, I'd get arrested, unsheath my sword, and slay the ladies. And then he goes, Cross is being booked like a mid-card hump. He's being booked like he's going to be a strong mid-carder, not like they see a big future with him, which is also, that's not to negate the importance of that, and especially in a field right now where your champions are Bobby Lashley and Roman, maybe getting in the conversation more so with a Sheamus or Apollo Crews is better, to be in that area where you can like show your worth on your way up. Maybe if they had Cross and fed him straight to Bobby Lashley, it'd be a bit much. So that's not to say it's the worst thing, but it is to say that he didn't even like attack Sheamus from behind, or when Sheamus was doing his open challenge. Remember the open challenge with Sheamus was, if you can beat me, you get a shot. But he didn't mean like in a match. He meant literally beat me down in a fucking fight in the back.
Yeah.
What if Cross came out and beat the shit out of him and got a match for it? You'd be like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Especially right now. Because Sheamus is so solidified as a badass dude who fucking fights and is blindsiding everyone and has a steel fucking mask. If Cross blindsided Sheamus and just beat him down and said, I'm ready for my title match, and walked away, you'd be like, what the fuck was that? But this is just a dude who had a match with... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially since he is NXT champion. Yeah. You know, since he's been there, he's had, 2 matches with Jeff and 1 with Keith Lee?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't... You're not building him up. The only thing I can say is, I hope my initial reaction when I saw him come out versus Jeff and Jeff got the win is that Jeff wins the NXT title and goes to NXT. I think that'd be I think that'd be a lot more interesting, and it goes to Amanda Jane's point where it's like, all right, well, let's solidify this roster. You know, we not dumbed it down, but trimmed the fat, if you will, and we need more headliners and people actually know, more recognizable names.
Maybe. Or maybe they're getting rid of some NXT. Maybe they're going to bring NXT back to like a developmental thing and put it back on the network and make it more like NXT UK, where it's more of a special thing. Because right now NXT doesn't feel special, and I think this doesn't make it feel any more special. But I do like Cross a lot. I think he's fantastic in the ring. I think his matches have been awesome. I like his presentation even as it is now. But I do think the people who are upset about his entrance right now are people who were spoiled by them being in a cardboard box instead of being in a stadium. You know what I mean? It's different now.
Well, I don't even mean the fog. Like, yeah, the fog has a little bit to do with it, and you know, you can set up fog, maybe not in fill up the entire arena, but put it along the walkway, put little fog machines there, so
Maybe.
you can still have the fog going out there. Because look at who is it, like Aleister Black, and didn't Bray Wyatt have a lot of fog as well
At different times,
back in the
but other
day?
times no.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's
but
an
I
issue.
mean, like Boogeyman always had fucking fog.
That's true. It's true. They could have done
I
something.
mean, I think they can do it to make it visually appealing, but I just think, like I said, when I remember him in NXT and him and Scarlett going like, she's like singing the song and stuff like that, it was very like a production of his entrance.
Yeah.
And now it seems like he doesn't know what to do. He's out there and like, I don't know why, but just Pete Davidson, the dude from SNL. I don't know why, but he just keeps popping in my head where he's just standing at the ramp carrying Cross's music, and he's like, "Well, I'm here, guys," and then walks to the ring.
It's all goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. TV Poker brings up a good point. He says, I'm so over Drew McIntyre, I'd like to see Cross whip the shit out of Drew. I'd actually like that if that's where they went next. If they're doing this just to like say, hey, Karrion Kross is here, he's gotten his footing a little bit, and then now he's like in a program with Drew and gets to a point where he wins against Drew, so that way he can be like, hey, I want a world title shot, like I'm on my way. Like that could be impressive, especially if it's not some back and forth. I really don't want, as much as I think 50-50 booking can be useful, I really want a dominant showing over Drew that puts Kross in that picture right away. And eventually I think that Drew can beat him at somewhere down the line, but I think on Kross's way up, I think he should beat Drew like 2 or 3 times definitively in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the other thing that Drew needs right now is something to fucking come back from.
Humble
think that
him.
something that humbles him. I think that something that the people who are turning on him online, and we've never turned on him. We've never been with him. So
Yeah.
we liked him right before he ran the Rumble. And right after that, we're like, what's going on with this guy? But,
Yeah.
and again, I don't think he doesn't belong in the main event picture in general. I think this iteration of his character is not easy for me to cheer or get behind. So I think his booking to me feels backwards. So if he did lose a number of matches, then it would give something for him to overcome. The sound defeat time and time again against Kross. What's happening to me if I can't even beat this rookie? You know what I mean? Like, make a thing out of it. Like, I think it could be really cool.
Yeah.
I do think a program with Drew could be very helpful to both of them.
Just as long as you don't call him a rookie. Then it's
Call him a rookie.
Sasha and
Bianca.
again.
Producer.
Oh, just on the topic of Karrion Kross, for some reason, in the back of my mind, I was just thinking, man, I really want to see him and Randy. I would love to see them in a storyline. Because I'm liking what I see with him and Jeff, so I don't know. Just thought.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think that Karrion Kross should be on the main roster, and I think he should have been a long time ago. I can't think of too many people on there I don't think I would like to see him work against. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that could be cool. And I do think you put Kross in there, give him the Drew McIntyre treatment. You know what I mean? Start putting him in there with all these legends. Put him in a program with Ziggler and Rude and the kind of people who teach these guys how to be main eventers. Put him in there with Seth Rollins. Put him in there with Randy Orton. Like, do that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that Kross can be a main eventer at WrestleMania within a year's time if you get away from this kind of weirdness and just, fucking double down on the guy. But at the same time, we've heard it time and time again, there is an awful lot to be said that in the company, they do things to test you to see if you're resilient and how professional you'll be. We've heard that from Bubba Ray. We've heard it from Tommy Dreamer. We've heard it from a few others on different podcasts that the company will try you to see how you respond. This could be just their way of trying Kross. Like, hey, yeah, you've only been wrestling X number of years. You got a later start. You went to NXT and you were immediately handed the keys to the castle. You know what I mean? Because you were given everything. What happens if we strip you down some? Are you willing to work for it? I think this is maybe a test that we're watching. Because at the end of the day, if he's still with the company in 5 years' time, we're not talking about this at all. You know what I mean? This gets forgotten real quick.
Oh, yeah.
But
because not a lot of people come in and make a huge splash on their debut. And if they do, they're like a flash in the pan. And a lot of times, to me, I feel like they're gone right away.
that's true, too. A lot of times they push someone that fast. It's a little bit too much too fast. I mean, even Brock Lesnar left because he got it all so fast. You know? He was gone for a while and came back because he was like, I don't have a challenge. I've already won the Rumble. I've already won the title. I've already main evented WrestleMania. He did everything in the first 2 years. And he goes, well, I'm pretty much a master at all this. I guess I'll go play football again. And you're like, yeah, I guess I could see where he'd think that. Yeah. I guess I can't argue with him. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on Cross. I like the guy a lot. After that, we had, looks like Alexa Bliss. Was there a little promo before it? Let me look. Oh, no, there was a Matt Riddle promo, which we kind of talked about all that stuff, too, the backstage back and forth between Randy and Riddle and all that. But, yeah, we did have Alexa Bliss comes out against Doudrop with Eva Marie. Alexa Bliss brought Lily to the ring, puts her on the turnbuckle. Did you see that weird shit that Eva Marie was trying to do at the beginning of the match? She was trying to sit on the turnbuckle, and the referee was you have to get out of the ring. And she was like, no, I'm going to do a thing. And it was all like, no, I can't start the match until you leave the ring. It's only for competitors. It was this weird, uncomfortable back and forth that felt a lot like Eva Marie had this real clever idea and didn't talk to anybody about if it was possible to do. And the referee was like, I can't do that. There's got to be a reason, man.
Yeah, to me, because I think they compared it to Lily sitting on the turnbuckle. And I think Byron was like, well, she doesn't have a heart or heartbeat or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that was weird. I don't know.
Weird. I think that they did mention it on commentary, and I thought, is that what she's trying to do, or could they have made it more obvious? It was just really weird. And then the match started, and it wasn't really brought up again. And you're like, okay, well. Because if it was this thing where it's all like, well, if the doll can be up there, then I can be up here, then they could have done a thing where they're like, hey, you have to move Lily and make her move it somewhere else. You know what I mean? They could have made a showing of it to make it mean something, but it was just came off as this awkward thing. But then the match happened.
But then they couldn't. I was going to say they couldn't because of the ending.
Yes,
they couldn't move Lily.
Exactly. What'd you think of the match on whole, and then what'd you think of the ending of the match? That was
I mean, I thought it was all right. It wasn't anything special or nothing really stood out to me. It was just there. And then the ending, I mean, the only thing I will give the ending is that's the only thing that you could have done because Lily and Alexa and the whole are very Underdome era.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do oh shit, the lights dropped or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm okay with it. It just, like I said, I think the match was just kind of there.
The fucking doll winking made me laugh because I was like, that's ridiculous. But, I guess it is what it is. I thought the match itself was actually good because I thought Alexa reminded me of Daniel Bryan in the sense that when he had hurt his neck, he decided he had to figured out a new way to wrestle. It was a lot more animalistic, he said, where he was on all fours. And if you watch his match with Brock Lesnar, he does a lot of that kind of stuff. Crawling weird, moving weird, latching onto things in a weird way. And I feel like a lot of what Alexa's doing in the ring is super unique. It's a lot of moves in ways that we've not seen moves done before. And a lot of movements we've not seen utilized before. And I know she's doing it to be creepy, but it also comes off to me like super innovative because it's also realistic in the motions. You know what I mean? She's not asking other people to carry her weight. It's not like, oh, if you move me like this, you'll fall like that. It's really like, you stand there, I'm gonna do some crazy shit and end up on top of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my big takeaway. Was Alexa's wrestling style changing so dramatically and so neat?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was interesting, and it was creepy. Like if somebody sits there and if you get in a bar fight and somebody starts doing that on the bar, you're gonna be like, all right, yeah, fuck this guy. I'm out.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
And cheers to Alexa Bliss. It was her birthday.
Yeah, cheers to Alexa Bliss. Happy birthday.
I
Isn't it
really
also
like.
Hulk Hogan's birthday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cheers to Hulk.
I really like how she kind of creepily crawls into the ring. I think that's like my favorite little creepy thing that she does.
I like all the springboarding she's doing. She's doing a lot of stuff into the ropes and off the ropes that are not the turnbuckles, but still doing high flying stuff in interesting ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that. And I think that the Lily stuff's got to end up going somewhere at some point. And I thought Dewdrop looked great. I think it was Bishop on from Terrible Wrestling Takes, twtakes.com/TWTs, promo code DIVEBAR for anybody looking for a deal. I do believe he's put it out there on Twitter that he thinks that Dewdrop is what he believes WWE thought Nia was going to be. And you said that as well, but I'd seen him tweet it first. Because you said you wish that Nia was more like this. But his speculation was he thought that WWE is getting what they thought. But, I mean, I agree with the sentiment that when we first saw Nia, it was like, oh, she's a force, she's something else. And then it was just been like a steady decline of just simplicity. And Dewdrop is coming out there. Even when she's losing, she's looking super strong. And she looks like a beast.
And this, again, I will say, this is one of the reasons I love NXT UK. Because their folks don't usually... Like, their folks can usually hang, I feel like.
Yeah, the people coming out of England are incredible. I mean, even Poker said it in the chat. He said he wished they booked Toni Storm better. She's amazing. Also, she hasn't been on TV much, but she's been winning when she's out there. So I don't think I have a problem with her booking. I just have a problem with how much TV time she's getting. I wish she was on more weekly and in more prominent positions.
Weird.
But if she's on SmackDown, it's hard to say.
Well, it's weird. I was going to say it's weird because they debuted her and they were like, oh, Toni Storm. And then that was it.
Yeah, they gave her like two good victories and some decent matches, and then that's kind of all we've seen for a second. So I mean, she'll be back, I imagine, but...
Yeah. But see, I'm surprised she didn't go to Raw. I just think Raw needs more help.
That's probably true.
Division.
That's probably true. Let me see. Morrison and Sheamus and Miz in a backstage segment. I liked Sheamus a lot in it and nothing else.
Yep.
I liked Sheamus in his match against Ricochet. That was a really good match, dude. Ricochet and Sheamus.
Yeah, that was good.
Those guys are so good together. And Ricochet looked like a fucking $1,000,000. And I loved that move where he was off the top and went for a headbutt and fucking like knocked himself out, Ricochet.
Yeah.
On Sheamus's mask. It was so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about any of that?
No, just the same. Like, I like that match, the headbutt and hit his mask. Like, I remember seeing it a few times, like, way back in the day where somebody has, like, a broken arm or, wearing a mask like that, and they go to do a move just naturally, and then they hit it and they, mess themselves up more. You don't see anything like that really anymore. So, like, to me, that felt like a very, like, a callback to the... I think I used to see it a lot in the what came before the Attitude Era? Was it New Age? Not New Age.
The new gen.
New Era? New Gen, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason I felt like I saw that a lot in the New Gen.
Yeah. I was explaining that to producer too, because she was like, I thought the mask was going to go away, and I was like, not till it has to. If it's anything like a cast, he'll wear it for a year if he can.
Yeah, oh yeah. And remember those old terrible casts that used to come off and stuff? Like,
yeah,
it was so great.
Heavy plaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Like they would hit people, and also like powder would puff off of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. After that, we had Damian Priest against John Morrison. Another really good match. I'm tired of the stuff with Miz. I think Miz is holding back Morrison a crazy amount at this point.
100%.
And
Go ahead.
I was really hoping at that moment where Miz stood up out of the wheelchair, I thought that would have been a perfect moment for Morrison to get pissed, saying, I've been fighting this whole time, and turn, and then finally let that be it. And they didn't go that route. I was really bummed because I'm so tired of this.
Yeah, they showed his reaction, which is probably going to lead to something, but I'm the same way. I'm not interested in a Morrison versus Miz feud.
Especially
Even
when
though
I was a fan of them, of Miz, like 6 months ago. This turned me around.
See, and I think it's weird too, because watching this match, like, it's so weird how they interchanged Sheamus, Ricochet, Priest, and Morrison in the last couple weeks.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, Priest is going after Sheamus. Okay, no, now he's going after Morrison again. Nope, now his still focus is on Sheamus. And to me, it's like, y'all just need to make it a fatal 4-way at SummerSlam for the U.S. title.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that, especially if Morrison and Miz broke up right here and do a fatal 4-way for the title. And have a whole lot of Miz being like, come on, Morrison, let's work together. And he being like, no, fuck you, dude. And then, like, kicking him in the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if, like, Miz tried to help Morrison and either cost him the match or help him win it. And then Miz is like, well, you only won that because of me. And then, them go back and forth or whatever. But
yeah,
I just think they need to, like I said, they need to announce that this is going to be a triple threat match. Fatal 4-way.
Yeah, let it be fatal 4-way. Let it be Rochambeau match.
Yep. Last man standing. Literally.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I think Morrison got to break it up.
Mason T-Bar versus.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything about the Damian Priest and Sheamus promo back and forth? Because I thought that was fucking fantastic. I'm also over the idea of Damian Priest at this point has been fighting Miz and Morrison since before Mania.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems to me like I don't hate it. I'm not one of those dudes who's like, oh, here we go, a rematch, because I'm high and mighty and know how to book things better than anybody else in the world. But I will say that they have been feuding for quite a long time, and it feels like, more so than like the rematch problem, it feels like that they're trying to keep Damian Priest looking strong and on TV and not positive what direction to take him just yet. So I'm really hoping the stuff with Sheamus takes him into like a U.S. title reign where he can put together like an open challenge, and then we can see a lot of fresh stuff with him, because it feels like they had a lot of plans with every other story and they're trying to figure his way in,
Or even someone like Apollo, like, I'd be down with seeing him with Apollo too, just like two strong dudes.
Apollo Crews on a different show.
Oh crap. Yeah, you're right. I don't love Raw, sorry. So I always go towards SmackDown. Sorry.
Yep. So yeah, his stuff with Sheamus, I liked the promo back and forth. I also like Sheamus getting that heat right away, saying like, I would expect that kind of stuff from these dopes, but I expect more from you. I was like, so good, dude. That little subtle shit talk to the audience, and in not a campy way, not a, oh, the hillbillies of Tampa, you know what I mean? Like, just like you guys shit talk online kind of a talk. I thought it was so good.
Yeah, I know it was.
Let's see, we had Mansoor and Mustafa against Retribution. It was a good match.
Yeah.
I'm happy those guys are all getting some time, but
excuse me. It feels like I like it, but I don't know where it's going.
yes.
Like like you said, I like that they're getting air time or TV time, and it's great. Like, I think all four talents are good, but what's next? You know, no one's, Mason T-Bar keep talking about how they're big and the other guys are small and that's it. Like, the commentators have mentioned it a couple times about Retribution, but the talent hasn't.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so weird to me.
Yeah, and it's weird that Retribution has beaten Mustafa a couple times, and you'd think that would become some part of the storyline where it's all like, oh, these guys used to tag, or even, hey, I had maybe they'll change their names because they finally defeated the one who held them down. Like, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, you'd think that something would change there, and there's been nothing. It's just been kind of more of the same. And at this point, I don't know what they're waiting for. Because remember, I told you about a month or two ago that with fans coming back on board, I was like, it does feel like we're probably going to see some stuff just like repeating, just as a way to like hold the line while they wait to get fans back. But now the fans are back. There's a couple stories like this one where you're like, you're still kind of holding the line, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Other than those guys are just good wrestlers, and I like that they're, getting that time. And they're good promos, too. So, we had the Reggie stuff backstage with the 24/7 title with Akira and R-Truth in disguises. And Reggie doing all his flips and tricks to get away from it and out of it. And I loved it because it let me know that Bruce Pritchard is still listening. Big fan of the show. Thank you, Bruce Pritchard. We love you. Cheers to Bruce Pritchard. Because we said like last week they needed to start splitting it up. He can't just be having matches in ring. They need to do a little bit backstage and then do an in-ring thing and like have it split up a little bit. And that's what they're doing now. So.
Yeah, because it didn't feel like the 24/7 title.
Right.
Because literally Reggie's had it and just a couple matches in the ring. And yeah, I was definitely glad that they showed something backstage. And, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think of MVP and Bobby Lashley?
I mean, I thought they did, their promo was good. Because you're talking about their promo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was right. It was all right. It was good for what it was. I think it moved the storyline a little bit, but it's kind of hard when you only see like one side of the story type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, the whole thing, MVP coming out and being like, hey, Goldberg came out and he fucked me. And then Bobby Lashley being like, hey, at SummerSlam, you may be next, but I'm going to thumb you and you're done.
None of that happened.
And then MVP is all like, hey, you should probably tell your son not to watch the fucking. And Bobby Lashley's all like, dude, what? I'm just saying, that's what it kind of came off as. There are people who were talking shit on Bobby Lashley's part of the promo. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was pretty solid. Like, it wasn't a Hard Times promo by Dusty Rhodes, but it was a solid promo that moved the story. He didn't have a lot of issues with it. Like, he was to the point because he also isn't the one talking most of the time. MVP talked for a while, and Bobby Lashley put a little exclamation point on the end. So, yeah, it was good. Like, I don't understand
the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, it was just kind of, it felt just too much like a recap to me, I think. Yeah. Oh, I did this, and then I told his son this, and he did this, and then I can't, I have to sit down when I pee now. And yeah, like I said, it kind of helped the story along, but it was almost like if it wasn't there, it wouldn't have been devastating.
Yeah, but it was fine. Let me see. After that, we had Rhea and Nikki gets interrupted by Charlotte, and we're reminded that everything's about Charlotte. Nothing's about anybody else ever. So the match itself, up until Charlotte, I thought was a really good match between these two.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, it's so weird that, unless they just want some more cheap heat, like, it's so weird that Charlotte gets involved in this match.
Yeah.
You have your, you know, the champion that you beat the snot out of the week before, going blow to blow with the other challenger in the match, you know, that you're gonna face in what, 2 weeks, week and a half,
Yeah.
and you interrupt it. It's like, no, let the like this. It's kind of like Bianca teaming with Sasha. She looks stupid. Let them beat the snot out of each other. Let them, you know, keep going.
Yeah.
Like she had
100%.
nothing to prove and nothing to gain out of interfering.
And then Charlotte cut that stupid promo in the back afterwards where she's all like, oh, if those people were on my level, they would have expected me to do this. Fucking bitch, you get run in on all the time. You just had a promo about how you're constantly blindsided by the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like, a week ago you say that you're constantly being attacked from behind, and this week you're saying, well, if you're on my level, you would always expect someone to come from behind, and then you're always ready for it, and you're never taken off guard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fuck? Get your head out of your ass. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just dumb. But, yeah. But Nikki versus Rhea, I'd like to see more of. Charlotte being involved, I'd like to see less of.
Yeah.
Outside of that, after that, unless there was something else you wanted to throw in about those.
No, I was done with it as soon as Charlotte got involved as well.
Yeah, I was into the match. I saw Charlotte, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
They
and
did
then Elias died.
Yep, that's what the promo that came up next. He says WWE stood for Walk with Elias, but Elias is dead. So then that begs the question, what does WWE stand for now?
And I don't know.
Yeah, because why else would they bring it up? Unless he's going to come back with something else.
Yeah. I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah. Elijah. Yeah. He all comes back. Yeah. He's going to come out and be like, what does WWE stand for? And I was going to go, Walk with Elias. He was like, you idiots. It's World Wrestling Entertainment, man. It's just what it's been for a long time. Ever since like 2002 or so.
Stupid.
Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about? He's got like a suit and tie on. I wonder if we're going to get a whole new look, you know? Trimmed down beard, shorter hair. I wonder if he's going to go the Jackson Riker the train, you know?
Yeah. And I'd be okay with that. Like, I like Elias. He's a lot more athletic than people, or that they showcase. And, you know, his gimmick as a heel and, you know, getting the cheap booze with his guitar and stuff like that, it was great. But I definitely think if he gets a full makeover, you know, I think it would be beneficial for them, or for him, I should say.
Yeah, that was the conversation we were having earlier, is that like as much as we all really liked the Elias character and didn't think that it saw the heights it could have, it probably is a good time to go ahead and rebrand, especially with Boogs being around and doing his thing. You don't want to be the one guy with guitar on one show and one guy with guitar on the other. Boogs is new, he's fresh, he's doing a thing with Shinsuke. It's working. Elias would just be going back to doing the same thing he was doing 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And at this point, we've had symphony matches. We've had the guitar on a ladder match. We've had the just guitar versus guitar match. Like, he's done enough with that particular gimmick that it's like, yeah, maybe right now is a good time to change it up a little bit, because like you said, he's incredibly talented. I don't see why you wouldn't want to give him a new fresh coat and see what he can do with it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That does bring us to the main event, though. We had AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton won, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he won with
Riddle.
Matt Riddle's help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gives the old RKO to Riddle, and he kind of laughs at him, and then that's kind of that, dude. Like, what did you think of the main event?
I thought it was good. You know, this is what main events are supposed to be, just two great talents going at it. And, you know, it was one of those times again where I was expecting Randy to RKO Riddle, but I didn't want to see it, and it happened.
Yeah.
But, I think, there's a lot of people, because I saw a couple people say, oh, Randy versus Riddle, who do you got, this and that, and I think it's the exact opposite. I think it is going to work with, going back to them challenging for the tag titles.
Yeah.
I think Riddle's going to be the dumb puppy that you smack and then comes back wagging its tail.
Yeah.
And it might be like one of those, like I said, comeuppance. Like, all right, there's your initiation. Now, we'll do RK Bro again.
Yeah, and I could even see it getting to a point where Riddle does turn on Randy, like gets really upset at him, and then they have a couple of matches that Riddle comes out on top, making him look great. Like, I could see that eventually, but I don't know that we're there quite yet. But maybe we are. Maybe we are. But like you said, AJ versus Randy Orton, fucking fantastic match, man. Just so good. So I had no issues with any of that. Yeah. I feel like that for me, every week with Raw, you can basically skip the first hour and then just watch the last two. But the thing is the show is also, people always want to bring this up, and I feel like it's people who watch it live only. They always talk about how Raw is too long, that it's 3 hours long, and SmackDown's 2 hours long. And if you're looking at the TV guide, yeah, that's true. But if you watch it commercial-free on the USA app, Raw this week was 2 hours and 5 minutes. That means they had 55 minutes of commercials. Maybe part of the reason it feels long is because they keep going to commercial. So you're constantly going to commercial. You get a segment you don't care about, then you're back on commercial. You know what I mean? Like, it's not 3 hours. But I do feel like whatever that first hour is televised, which is typically like the first 30 minutes to 40 minutes, is all skippable. Like, it's just always so bad.
Well, see, I felt like this with this show is, you had the Randy return, and I was like, oh shit, awesome. And then they just put filler with filler before you got to Randy Orton RKOing Riddle.
Yeah.
And, some of it moved the storylines along. Some of it was just even worse. It was, like I said, just complete filler. But, yeah, it was very lackluster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it. That's all I got for Raw, dude. Do you have anything else you want to throw in there?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think we did all right. This week. I don't have anything extra to add. I'll say that I've still had AEW on, and I have not seen one thing I thought was notable that looked decent enough to tell you to be on the lookout for. There was one video vignette by Malachi Black I'll probably watch. I'm probably going to turn it off here in just a minute. But anything else you want to throw out there, man?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you're ready for last call, I am.
Yeah, just curious to see this week's SmackDown, and it's going to be the go-home show for Raw to SummerSlam, so.
Yeah, I am excited for that. We're going to see how it's going.
Yeah.
Definitely going to keep our ears out to see if anything cool happens on Rampage. But as it stands right now, I think that's all we have to say about SmackDown and Raw. I think that we did a pretty decent episode 1, but not good enough to get us to episode 2, if I'm being honest.
So close.
So, guys, that's at Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. Join us next week when we come back here for a brand new episode 1 as we do it all over again right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys.
And tomorrow, we also have a show tomorrow if you're interested in talking NXT and AEW.
That's true. We'll be back tomorrow for a brand new episode 1 as well. And next week, we split them up. I split them up in my mind so definitively.
I don't know why you're jumping.
Yeah. I'm always like, because I go, well, me and Kev are meeting up next week, and that's it. And then tomorrow, I'm going to meet up with Clump and Amanda and be like, yeah, I haven't talked to you guys in a week. It's been a week since we've done this show. It's only episode 1. They're all episode 1. Next week, we're going to have an episode 1. I'll tell you what, tomorrow, we'll do another episode 1. A week after that, another episode 1. Because that's what we do here, right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.